Sights and Sounds is brought to you.
We went to the movies. I forgot my wallet, but my brother sent me money.
I pretended not to notice.
Every day was a celebration. NTV akawungezi mbaniriza nnyo ennaku z'omwezi ziri ya 30 nga lwe lunaku olukomekereza omwezi ogw'omukaaga era nga enkya tuyingira omwezi ogw'omusanvu. Nze Farida Nakazibwe ne kansoke nkuwa emitwe mikulu mu NTV akawungezi.
Tulowooza nti abaana bwe babeera ku nguudo okwo ne babeera nti oli abawa ssente tujja kusobola okubaggyako.
Mwegendereze etteeka erikwata abagabira abaana b'oku nguudo ssente lijja.
Waliwo ofiisi omu abalabirira kati.
Embizi z'oku Parliament ziteekeddwako omusirikale okuzigabirira. Kkooti erina okuwa olukusa okuzitunda.
Njogedde ne bakama baabwe okuva ku ba DPC tebaagala kusasula.
Lwaki temwagala kusasula? Landlord asibidde poliisi ku nnyindo. Abanja obukadde 9.
Kutuka ku muliro nyine ngo muliro gwaka.
Songa abalongo bajiridde mu nju Kasangati. Ate Mubende taata assa omwana lwabulemu ku mubiri. Muli ku NTV kangatandike ne government eteekateeka okuleeta etteeka ekkakali okukangavvula abantu abavujjirira abaana b'oku nguudo ssente. Kaweefube ono agendereddwamu okukendeeza ku kusabiriza okweyongera ku nguudo z'ekibuga ekikulu Kampala. Okusinziira ku government, nnamba y'abaana b'oku nguudo erinnya buli olukya yeeraliikiriza. Minisitule y'ekikula ky'abantu nga yeewoomya omutwe mu nteekateeka eno esuubira okukolaganira wamu n'abakulira ebibuga okussa etteeka lino mu nkola. Musasi waffe n'ebisingawo.
Okuva mwaka gwa 2025, Minisitule y'ekikula ky'abantu yagunjawo kafuba okukendeeza omujuzo gw'abaana ab'oku nguudo wakati mu kibuga Kampala. Kati okumala ekiseera ebikwekweta ebiyoola abaana bizze bikolebwa, kyokka kino tekirobedde muwendo gw'abaana kweyongera buli lukya ku nguudo. Olw'omuwendo guno, abakulu mu minisitule eno balina okutya nti singa embeera tesalibwa magezi, eggwanga lyandigwa mu katyabaga.
Nga twesanze nga tutusse mu kkoona we tuwulira ddala nga abaana we banayitirira ennyo ku nguudo, kijja tuviiramu ebintu ebirala ebizibu ennyo.
Kati minisitule eteekateeka kuvaayo n'etteeka okukugira omuntu yenna awa abaana b'oku nguudo ensimbi.
Kubanga oba wegasse kwabo abali mu muze ogw'okuleeta abaana kuki ku nguudo, ffe tulowooza nti abaana bwe babeera ku nguudo okwo ne babeera nti wali abawa ssente tujja kusobola okubaggyako.
Okusinziira ku kunoonyereza okwakolebwa ekitongole kya APCAN mu mwaka gwa 2013, omuwendo gw'abaana ababeera ku nguudo gweyongera okuva ku abo 4,000 mu mwaka gwa 1993 ne batuuka ku mutwalo mulamba mu mwaka gwa 2013.
Twesanze nga be tujjako ate abamu ne bakola ki ne bakomawo ne tulabikanga abali awo nga tusiimuula naye nga taapu tugirese nga nzigule.
ate okusinziira ku kitongole kya KCCA kumpi abaana 16 bebayiwa ku nguudo z'omu Kampala buli lunaku nga bano bava mu disitulikiti okuli Soroti, Napak, Mbale, Jinja ko n'endala nnyingi. Julius Senkandwa, NTV.
Webale nnyo Julius Senkandwa. Poliisi y'eggwanga nate ekyatubidde n'obubizi obwaleetebwa ku Parliament nga 17 omwezi guno. Kino kidiridde poliisi okulemererwa okutunda obubizi obwo okubadde kulina okukolebwa olwaleero. Embizi zino poliisi etutegeezezza nti zikuumirwa kireka mu kifo awasibirwa abantu ababira bazizza emisango egy'amaanyi.
Poliisi bwerabye ekyakandaliridde n'obubizi neewaayo omusirikale omwe abulabirire okutuusa nga butundiddwa.
Waliwo ofisa gye bamusayinze okulabirira embizi.
Waliwo ababadde beewera okuwaayo ensimbi ezisinga obungi beegulire ku mbizi ez'ebyafaayo wabula nga tekisobose. Poliisi etubuulidde ensonga lwaki olwaleero tesobodde kutunda bubizi ku nnyondo nga bwe yasuubiza wiiki ewedde.
Kooti tenaba kutuula, ejja kutuula nga 4 omwezi gwa July we kooti gyegenda okuwuliriza ensonga zaffe oba okusaba kwaffe kw'okutunda embizi zino.
Ku lunaku lwe lumu n'abavubuka abatwala embizi mu Parliament lwe banadda mu kkooti y'oku kitebe kya KCCA mu Kampala. Singa kkooti eragira poliisi okutwalayo embizi ng'obukakafu, olwo lwe zinaddamu okusisinkana n'abajja bazikulubbeesa. Okuva poliisi lwe yawamba obubizi bwa kyenvu yali yabukukulira okutuusa wiiki ewedde omubaka omukyalo ow'Essembabule Hanifa Kawooya lwe yavaayo n'ategeeza nti bwali bumubuzizzaako emirembe kuba baali babukuumira kumpi ne woofiisi ye. Poliisi egamba nti embizi zino ziri mu mbeera nnungi.
That yellow color which came with the pigs is no longer there. So even if anybody wanted it for evidence, the yellow is remaining. You know, I didn't want to look at them.
Embizi ekyali mu mbeera nnungi ne kala zaayo za yellow ekyalimu.
Kitegeezeddwa nti obubizi bukuumirwa mu balakisi ya poliisi ey'Ekireka. Honest Wisdom Kiyonga, NTV Akawungeezi.
NTV Akawungeezi. Bo abapoliisi ababadde bakolera ku police post y'omu kitundu ky'Ewamala okumpi ne Nansana mu district ey'Ewakiso olwaleero bafuuse babundabunda. Kino kidiridde landlord area Paul Centamu yabapangisa ebizimbe mwe babadde basula okubagoba ng'abalanga butasasula. Kitegeerekese nti ensimbi ezibanjibwa omukulu ono ziri mu bukadde 9.
Abasirikale bano olwaleero bafuuse ebisekererwa eri abatuuze be babadde bakuuma oluvannyuma lwa nannyini kizimbe kino okubagoba mu nnyumba ze.
Nnyumba eno yagizimba nga yali yabapangisa teyali ya poliisi. N'asalawo n'abateekamukko babeereko bafunire ennyumba gye banaabeeramu. Wayise emyaka 3 tebasasula.
Omwami ono Elia Paul Sentamu agamba nti emyaka 2 egiyise abatuuze beekubira enduulu oluvannyuma lw'obumenyi bw'amateeka okubanga bwali buyitiridde mu kitundu kino ne basaba okubaterawo poliisi ku kyalo kino era n'abawa ekifo we banaabeera kyokka nga kyakusasulira.
Njogedde ne bakama baabwe okuva ku ba DPC tebaagala kusasula ne mbagamba ennyumba mugimpe ngiteekemu abagisobola.
Sentamu agamba nti bakkaanya okusasula emitwalo 40 buli mwezi naye kati emyaka 2 egiyise nga tebamusasula era naye kwe kusalawo okubagoba.
Tebampadde wadde 10 emyaka 2 n'ekitundu.
Mu busungu obungi atuuse n'okubategeeza nti ensimbi z'abadde ababanja azibasonyiye bazikozese mu kuzimba gye balaga.
Mbadde njagala ssente ze bandimpadde nga ze mbadde mbabanja bazizimbemu police post. Ezo nzibawadde buwi.
Wabula yo poliisi egamba nti ekimanyi bulungi nti Sentamu ababanja era balina okumusasula nga bwe bategeka ne we balina okuzimba.
Naye bale tumusaba tuweeyo akadde tugende tulabe abakulu baffe ku headquarters bamusasule ssente ze naye yagaanya agamba ti kiki tufulume.
Kyokka ekyokugoba poliisi ku kyalo kino abatuuze bagamba nti kano kabaate kennyini kubanga obumenyi bw'amateeka bugenda kweyongera.
Obuvuyo bugenda kuba bungi kubanga tubadde tulina emirembe nga weeri ng'ababbi bakendedde luli battanganya abantu ng'abapoliisi tebannajja.
Naye mukadde kano okulaba nti poliisi etambudde n'evaawo nga ekyalo ng'abatuuze tetulina kye tumanyi. Ekyo kitulumye ng'abakulembeze baffe obutatutegeezaako twali badde tukubawo olukiiko olw'amangu ne twesalira amagezi.
Era oluvannyuma abasirikale bano bakkiriza okulinnya emmotoka gye babasasulidde naye nga watuufu we balina okwewogoma tewamanyikiddwa. Dini Lubowa Sava, NTV Akawungeezi.
Abasimatuka okufa mu bulumbaganyo bwakolebwa ku kkanisa ekyegegwa tukitegeddeko leero nti kwaliko n'omwana omuto ow'emyaka 2 era ng'ono yafumitibwa effumu mu liiso okumpi n'eriiso. Ono wamu ne bazadde be balojja ebyaluwo ku lunaku olwo abantu bwe baalumba ekkanisa mu Matumbi Budde ne batta omu ku baasangibwa nga abuulira. Bo abamu ku bakulira abasiraamu mu disitulikiti y'e Kyegegwa bavumiridde ebyaliwo era ne basaba wateekebwewo obukuumi obw'amaanyi.
Tutuuseeko ku ddwaliro ya Midas Touch mu disitulikiti y'e Kyonjojo abagambibwa okuba nti gye baatwala abamu ku batuuze abaasimatuka n'ebisago oluvannyuma lw'okulumbibwa abazigu abeerambika mu ddiini y'Obuyisiraamu abaalumba ekkanisa ku kyalo kya Liboni mu disitulikiti y'e Kyegegwa. Wano we tusanze Poleta Shubya ne Sarah tulina omugisha nga bano baasobola okusimatuka n'ebisago oluvannyuma lw'okuwona okuttibwa abazigu ababalumba mu kiro bwe baali basaba. Sarah alabiddwako ne muwala we ow'emyaka 2 ng'ono yafumitibwa effumu kumpi n'eriiso.
Bizire nibatahamu bakugira Allahu akbar nibatema egi n'empango hati kuna inashohora n'ondijo yankurata yancumita ogwo akancumisa icumu ya spear
hata babiri barimu ubwo mu cyo ubashikira bakana bamutera umutwe nibagwata hati nuko bakadanga bakacumita ogwo na nabandi buli omwe nakatoro muhando gwenye nyonki yirukanga na ka polisi.
Mu kiseera kino ebizibu bibeyongedde kuba tebalina yadde nusu ey'okuwa abasawo ababajjanjaba.
Eriso bakaricumita hicumu nane hicumu erya hati nashashe nore kunkumkwataho yarra.
Bw'abasawo mu ddwaliro lino basobodde okutunnyonnyola embeera abalwadde bano gye baatuukiramu mu ddwaliro ne bali kati.
The child had actually a wound on the face, which we actually sutured, and the male also had a wound. However, the lady actually had deep cut wounds, and had lost a lot of blood. So,
yadde embeera etandise okudda mu nteeko wano mu disitulikiti y'e Kyegegwa. Abamu ku batuuze abasiraamu bategeezezza nga kati batambulira mu kutya okw'amaanyi oluvannyuma lw'ebikolwa bino ebyakolebwa abazigu abeerambika mu ddiini yaabwe.
Ku sayidi ya gavumenti tutandise ogitya tetuli bulungi embeera mu kitundu teteri nnungi.
Bw'abamu ku bakulembeze b'eddiini y'Obuyisiraamu mu kitundu ky'e Kyegegwa bavumiridde ebikolwa bino ebyakoleddwa abantu abeerambika mu ddiini yaabwe ebibaleetedde n'okubavumaganya.
Lwaki ffe buli wabaawo omuntu ng'alina mutima omubi naye ng'ayambala ekkanzu buli bwakola ekintu kye bakisiba ku basiraamu bonna ku umma yonna.
Ye omubaka omukyala atwala disitulikiti eno asaasidde abo bonna abaatuusibwako obulabe wabula anenyezza abamu ku bakuumaddembe okukwata ensonga zino n'obugayaavu.
Ensonga y'e Magoma teyatandika jjo emaze emyaka nga3.
Ono ayagala embeera edde mu nteeko mu bwangu ddala okwewala okubalukawo enjawukana ssaako n'entalo z'amadiini.
Baleme kukifuula lutalo lwa ddiini. Mu bantu be banaakwata bwe munaabeeramu omusiraamu ajja kuba tarepresentinga basiraamu, ajja kuba nga ye yakoze ekibi era bamukoleko ng'amateeka bwe gakola ki bwe galagira.
Kitegeerekeseeko ng'abantu 7 be bakwatibwa mu kaseera kano nga bateberezebwa okubeera mu kibinja ekyalumba abantu mu disitulikiti y'e Kyegegwa ku Lwokutaano. Suhail Mugabi, NTV Akawungezi.
Webale nnyo Suhail Mugabi. Eddakiika ziri 11 ziyiseeko tugenda kuwummulamu katono ddala bino bye bimu ku byoba osuubira mu kitundu ekyokubiri. Okwewandiisa okufuna density kubuzayo ennaku 40 kuggweko abantu balabuddwa tewali kwongezaayo kiseera kirala.
Having broken the hunger story in Napak, we appeal to the general public to contribute towards the Feed Napak initiative. Kindly donate items like clothes, food, shoes and other items to support our vulnerable brothers and sisters in Napak district, Karamoja. Kindly bring your donated items to the Uganda National Theatre from the 2nd to 30th June 2014 or send your mobile money contribution to Winnie Banage on MTN 0772 121986. For more information, call Diana on 0791 162357. We can do great things with great love.
Kumi na ttaano zezakayita ku ssaawa emu kulikayo nnyo mu kuwummulako wadde okulabulwa kuzze kukolebwa eri abazadde okukomya okusembeza ettaala okumpi n'abaana kirabika kufuuyira ndiga mulere ennangabo okumpi ne Kampala abaana abalongo ba myezi 8 abajjiridde mu nju ne bafuuka bisiriiza ng'entabo evudde ku musubbaawa. Kitaabwe Ssalongo Daniel Bosa yabadde agenze ku masannyuso nga nnyabwe ategerekeseeko erya Proscovia abadde agenze ku dduuka. Ate mu buufu bwe bumu obwo emubende abatuuze ku kyalo Buwande mu muluka gw'e Katente bagudde ku mulambo gw'omwana ow'emyaka 6 gwe bamaze ennaku nga banoonya.
Kigambibwa nti abalongo 2 ne Nakata ab'emyezi 8 kati abagenzi babadde balekeddwa mu nju nga beebase wabula omusubbaawo gwalekeddwa mu nnyumba nga gwaka gwe gwavuddeko kalunsambulira.
Twagenze okudduka okutuukayo ng'omuliro gukutte nga tewali asobola kuyingira mu nnyumba.
Kigambibwa nti Nalongo Proscovia ow'emyaka 19 maama w'abaana yatuuse ku nnyumba ng'ekutte omuliro bwe yabadde ava ku dduuka okugula ebyokulya.
Bwe yalabye omuliro kuba yavuddewo nga gukwata bukwasi.
Yavuddewo nga gukwata bukwasi?
Nnyo.
Yazze.
Yagenze okugula capati.
Bagamba bwe yazze mu kutuuka.
Akomawo omuliro gutandika okukwata. Adduka akuba enduulu naye atidde enkanga bwe y'amaanyi.
Ate awo yandibadde ayingira n'asika y'abaana.
Ekyo tekyamujjidde.
Kyokka abadduukirize bagenze okutuuka okubaako ne kye bataassa nga tekikyasoboka era abaana baayidde bonna ne bafuuka bisiriiza.
Kutuuka ku muliro gwennyini ng'omuliro gwaka nga tewali kyakutaasa kyonna nga buli kimu kiwedde.
Nga ne poliisi y'abazinya moto yatuuse kikeerezi nga n'ebintu byonna bifuuse muyonga. Ye taata w'abaana kati abagenzi Ssalongo Daniel Bosa ow'emyaka 25 agambibwa okuba nti yabadde agenze kwewaamu n'emikwano gye.
Ate si yatugambye ffe twamusanze ku kkubo ng'ali ku miranga. Agamba omukazi yabadde atunda amatooke yatugamba nti omuliro gukutte ennyumba. Gamba Ssalongo kwata amacupa ndeeta emisinde. Ngenda otuuka wano ng'omuliro oguli awo tegunatuuka eri ng'oguli awo tesobola kuguyingira.
Wabula abaagalana olwategedde nti abaana basiridde ne baggwawo olwo ne bassako kakokola tondeka nnyuma nga ne gye buli eno poliisi ekyabayigga.
Wadde obulagajjavu eri abazadde Ssalongo Daniel Bosa ne mukyala we Nalongo Mpagi okuddira amabujje gano ne bagaleka mu nnyumba nga mulimu kakando kyokka nga tewaliwo omuntu avunaanyizibwa.
Ebisigalira by'abagenzi poliisi ebitutte mu ddwaliro e Mulago okwongera okwekebejjebwa. Ate ebyo nga bikyali bityo abatuuze ku kyalo Buwande mu disitulikiti y'e Mubende bazudde omulambo gw'omwana ow'emyaka 6 gwe bamaze ennaku eziwerako nga banoonya. Abatuuze basoose kuzuula mutwe gw'omwana ono oluvannyuma lw'okunoonyeza ebbanga eddene. Kiteeberezebwa nti yattibwa kitaawe Sebakka nga kigambibwa nti abadde aludde nga yekkanya omwana ono olw'okubeera muzibe ng'agamba nti yamumalako dda emirembe. Poliisi ono yamukutte dda.
Embwa ze zitulaze zibadde zirya.
Sebakka agambibwa okuba nti yeefudde omu ku banoonya omwana ono naye nga byategeeza abatuuze tebikwatagana kwe kusalawo okumuwaayo eri poliisi. Poliisi esabye abantu obutatwalira amateeka mu ngalo n'ebasaba okukolagana nayo mu kunoonyereza kweriko. Ebisigalira by'omugenzi bikuŋŋaanyiziddwa era ne bitwalibwa.
NTV akawungezi kwoli ng'ebula ennaku 4 zokka okuwandiisa abantu okufuna endagamuntu obadde ensi tekukomekkerezebwe. Olunaku olwaleero minisitule y'ensonga ez'omunda evuddeyo n'erabula abantu bonna abatannaba kwewandiisa nti tebajja kubongezaayo kiseera kirala. Omwogezi wa minisitule eno Pamela Nkunda atutegeezeza nti abantu obukadde 6 be bamaze okwewandiisa era n'agamba nti abalowoolereza mu kubongezaayo ekiseera babiveeko.
Kuongeza okumanyisa abantu mobilization tubategeeze nti no ddala ennaku 4 zisigaddeyo zokka beewandiise ate nga tujja kuba nga tukozesa emikutu gyonna TV, radio, empapula byonna okumanyisa abantu nti ddala enaku zigenze nga zisemberera nga August 11 okwewandiisa ku parishes kuba kuwedde. Ensimbi government zensasanya ku project eno buli lunaku nyingi nnyo ate nga sente z'omusolo kato okuzonoonya ng'oyongezayo ennaku ez'okwewandiisa. Lwaki abantu tetwewandiisa kati? Ekyo nakyo ne kiggwa ne tumanya nti sente ez'omusolo zikoze kyezikoze kati kazigende ku kintu ekirala n'okuwandiisa abantu awalala so si ku parishes. So ze ndaba nti okwongezayo okwewandiisa ku parishes tekijja kusoboka.
Oyo ye Pamela Nkunda yayogerera Ministry ey'ensonga ez'omunda. Ate Nigeria abalwanyi aba Boko Haram bakyagenda maaso n'okukola effujjo ku bitundu by'eggwanga eryo eby'omu mambuka. Okusinziira ku batuuze mu Chibok ekifo juzi aba Boko Haram gye bawamba abawala b'essomero, abantu bano balumbye ekkanisa n'ekereziya n'ekigendererwa eky'okutta ababadde basaba. Kiteeberezebwa nti abattiddwa bandikunokkiriza mu 100 weewaawo bagamba nti ennamba ekyali 40.
Obulumbaganyi buno bwakoleddwa olunaku lwa jjo olwali lugenza okutuuka olw'emirambo gy'abantu ba bulijjo 40 n'aba Boko Haram 6 egizuuliddwa. Abatuuze bangi mu mambuka ga Nigeria battiddwa mu myezi emitono egiyise nga n'entikko y'ettemu lino kwali kuwamba bawala ova ku ssomero erimu mu kitundu ekiyitibwa Chibok. Mu mambuka ga Nigeria gavumenti yalangirira ekiseera eky'akabenje naye abalwanyi ba Boko Haram abaagala okusula gavumenti bafugire ku nkola ya sharia tebannasala ku ttemu lye bakola. Aba Boko Haram abakulu ba Beka Shekau beewaana nga bali mabega wa bino byonna bakyaganye n'okutta abawala be baawamba mu mwezi ogwokuna. Abekona bakulira musajja ayagala okweyisa nga abazanyi ba firimu eziyitibwa ez'ababanda. Kigambibwa nti oluusi okusalawo kwe kwa ngeri kubanga omutwe gulinga ogulimu katwewungu oba obwakataala ng'enjogera y'ennaku zino. Mu 2012 bwe yalagira abantu 18 ne battibwa e Kano, ekibuga ekisinga obunene mu mambuka ga Nigeria, yategeeza nti okutta abantu kumusingira okutta enkoko n'endiga. Bwe yawamba abawala b'essomero mu mwezi ogwokuna yalabika mukamu ku butambi nga yeewaana nga bw'aseka n'okuwera nga bw'ajja okutunda abawala be yawamba. Obuyinza bwa Boko Haram yabweza mu 2009 oluvannyuma lw'okufa kwa Muhammad Yusuf Ali. Ennaku zino agenda ayiga oluzungu naye ng'asinga kwogera Kanuli, Hausa n'Oluwarabu. Talabika mu bantu era n'abalwanyi b'aduumira balwawo okumulaba ng'okusinga atuma ababaka be yeesiga okutuusa ebiragiro.
Kada aslamna
Mu mizannyo ttiimu y'essaza ly'Essingo eyongedde okwekuumira ku ntikko bw'efunye akabonero mu mupiira gwe yazannye ne Gomba. Omupiira guno gubadde eri Emityana. Abazannyi Dube Sebuufu ne Henry Agog buli omu atebedde ttiimu ye golemo.
Essaza ly'Essingo libadde terisuulangayo kabonero okuva empaka zino ezaggyibwako akawuuwo omwezi guno ebuweekula. Era wabaddewo akayita eddakiika 23 zokka nga bameggana ne Gomba. Dube Sebuufu n'ateebera Ssingo ggoolo ewadde bannyinimu essuubi ery'okusigaza obubonero obusatu. Wabula mu ddakiika ey'ensanvu mu kitundu ekyokubiri Gomba yateebye ggoolo ey'ekyenkanya okuyita mu muzannyi Henry Agog. Ggoolo eno yalese bannaSsingo basansagala olw'okusuula obubonero obubiri naye nga baasigadde ku ntikko y'ekibinja kino n'obubonero 7 ate nga babaddiridde abagomba balina obubonero 4 ne buweekula ne basibagana ne Busujju n'obubonero 3. Ate Wakiso essomero lya St. Juliana lyawangudde empaka za Mulama Cup ez'omupiira oluvannyuma lw'okuba Nakaseke International ggoolo emu ku bwereere. Okutuuka ku mupiira ogw'akamalirizo St. Juliana yasoose kuwandulamu Mpama College ate Nakaseke neewandulamu ey'abategesa aba St. Juliana ey'okubiri.
Ekikopo kino kijja ebitone bingi mu ggwanga muno era tugezezaako okulaba nga tuyamba ebitone by'abaana okuva tournament eno lyatandikibwawo St. Juliana ne bayite giwangulangako naye olwaleero egiwangudde era tuli basanyufu nnyo.
Amasomero 26 ge geetabye mu mpaka zino ezazanyiddwa eggayaaza. Sam Mpoza, NTV akawungeezi.
Mu kikopo ky'ensi yonna ekiyindira kati mu Brazil wetwogerera nga Nigeria eri mu nsiike ne Bufalansa era nga bantegeezeza nti ggoolo zikyali 0-0. Ttiimu ya Africa endala ya Algeria yo eri mu kutunka ne Germany. Abawagizi bawadde endowooza zaabwe ku mipiira gyombi.
nsuubira France ejja kuba Nigeria enzo gikuba 2-1
wamba wa bet mbangu siba x2 full time naye nga win yo ejja kusigala ke ya France
mu ndaba yange ngeri genda bamu Nigeria ngabo yasooka kati ngabo esambye netuka round ya 16 eyizobera muko ne kyamanyi kyegenda okola tuyizolaba omupiira ogonga ugenda olusu paka mu extra.
Nigeria ina chances ez'okuwangula wadde ne France ina enkizo nnene naye tusubira Nigeria ejja surprising.
Algeria ne Germany Germany nsubira Germany ejja kuba Algeria
kati ola Germany engeri gyesambamu ina skills okusinga kwa Nigeria so nze nsubira Nigeria wadde esamba bulungi naye abazanyi bayo tebalina enough experience.
Ogwo nagwo tuyinza olaba nga gugenda paka mu penalties kuba sobola kugamba tugunda ajja kuba gundu kwa mpira musajja.
Algeria ejjake erina obusungu buli bwebabega eyagala kujjako akasaba Germany nti ekintu bakimanyi era kyemanyi kiri kimu nti omupiira guno nguwadde Algeria.
Amakumi 30 gegayise ku ssaawa emu munzikirize tukomekereze NTV akawungeesuddemu tusisinkane nate enkya kambalekera obufaananyi buno obw'abagole n'ebyo byabatuukako nga baali tebabisuubira ku lunaku olwo olusinga obukulu. Musule bulungi okutuusa enkya.
NTV, turning on your world.
Sometimes children have amazing ideas, but they can lead to tough stains. And for tough stains, there's new Omo Fast Action. Its super fast cleaning technology removes stains fast. New Omo, no one removes tough stains faster.
Program Guide is brought to you by
Jessa Smooth Yogurt.
Program Guide.
Jessa Smooth Yogurt comes in various flavors like vanilla, strawberry and banana. Jessa Farm Dairy. Always trusted, always delicious.
Today's highlight with
Nice and Lovely Body Lotion.
Wrong. Well, you know, they can't afford to be wrong.
There's our Connie, always sticking up for her husband.
Cocktail 962, heavy turn left heading 140.
In the ultimate high-pressure job,
19,4000, expect to follow company traffic at 12
Nick Falzone was in control of everyone's life.
Welcome to my sky.
But his own.
You okay?
Yeah, I just got, work stuff.
Do you want to talk about it?
We just did.
Can I have your attention, please? This is the new man. This is Russell Bell.
You bring out the best in me. New and improved Nice and Lovely Body Lotion. The 24-hour skin moisturizer that's your skin's best friend. The best in me.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here. What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week? I say they're shopping. Me, I'd be looking to sell. At what price? More. Much, much more. I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Some people say that if Plan A didn't work, you shouldn't worry about it because the alphabet has more than 25 letters. So stay cool because you'll accomplish whatever you're failing to do now. Make sure that you're locked on to Morning at NTV for the next 2 hours because Joel Senyonyi Simon and Mabel and Isma Dakabachigo and of course yours truly are ready to make sure that your Tuesday is going to be fantastic. To all African supporters, I think we should ask for assimilation in the Western world. But aside from that, welcome to the show. Let's get started with the question of the day. Well, and go to our Facebook page, Morning at NTV. Help us answer that simple question. You can also use Twitter at Morning at NTV. The SMS platform is also available at 6565. And feel free to follow us on our individual Twitter handles at MBGold2, at Joel Senyonyi, at Kasiate, at Mebkeb, and at NTV Uganda. And let's continue the discussion there online. Now, Mabel, I know you were probably very annoyed when Nigeria lost that game. How are you feeling this morning? Bakwo kuchai, by the way.
Era bampe kuchai because but they're saying I will pour a writ here in their very lovely studio. But anyway, I think, Brian, that there's something wrong with Africans, and I think we here at Morning at NTV need to dissect what Africans' problems are. And someone is reminding me to say we Africans. I am an African, probably not for much longer. Well, wherever you're watching from, thank you for joining us this Tuesday. We are here to make your Tuesday beautiful. Continuing morning at NTV with the news, the Uganda Law Reform Commission is seeking amendments to the Magistrates Court Act and the Trial Indictment Act to incorporate plea bargaining into the justice system as opposed to a full trial. Under plea bargaining, the accused pleads guilty to the offense if the evidence against them is overwhelming. This saves the time court would have spent in full trial. The suspect and the prosecution then negotiate the appropriate sentence for the suspect, which is then considered by the judge. As Solomon Seranja reports, the Law Reform Commission hopes that plea bargaining would help cut down the huge case backlog.
The huge case backlog remains the elephant in the room in Uganda's judicial system. The few judges and magistrates are always pondering whether to take the elephant by its tail, the trunk, or the legs. As a result, many suspects remain on remand in prisons for months and years without trial, further crowding the overstretched cells. Although the High Court regional circuits have helped bring down the case backlog, especially upcountry, many more files remain in the shelves of the temples of justice, gathering dust. The Uganda Law Reform Commission is pushing for amendments of the Magistrates Court Act and the Trial Indictment Act to provide for plea bargaining as a solution to help cut case backlog. Under the plea bargaining justice system, the lawyers of the prosecution and the accused enter into an agreement for the suspect to plead guilty to the offense. The two sides then discuss the sentencing or penalty for the offense before appearing in court.
The accused person must at all times in the pre-negotiations agree to plead guilty to an offense that he has been charged with. But it comes with incentives of getting a lighter sentence, of getting a stay of certain charges, of getting withdrawals on certain charges.
They then present their agreement to court before the judge.
The judge still has his discretion as the sentencing judge, but is encouraged to take into consideration what they have agreed upon. Not that what they have agreed upon is binding on the judge.
The judge may decide whether to endorse or nullify the sentence if he doubts that the process did not follow the regulations for plea bargaining.
Upon the court rejecting the plea agreement, the whole process stops there, and the accused person is supposed to undergo a full trial of that case. However, to note is that any prior discussions, any prior facts that were disclosed during the plea negotiations cannot be used against an accused person in the subsequent trial.
The entire plea bargain process is expected to take 14 days. To test the effectiveness of plea bargaining, the High Court conducted pilot studies in Mubende, Wakiso, and Kampala district.
Mubende, I handled 104 files, cases, and 74 pleaded guilty. And through the negotiations, the state found 2 without cases and entered in notice. That was 76 cases out of 104 resolved in the period which I was there of 3 weeks.
But critics of the system argue that it could weaken the criminal justice system.
The public out there will look at it as a way of buying justice, that I will negotiate my way out, I will commit a crime, get out there and negotiate my sentence.
There are also arguments that many suspects who have been on remand for long may use the opportunity to plead guilty, even if they are innocent, so as to serve their sentence and leave prison. The Law Reform Commission is now engaging legislators to support plea bargaining once the amendment bills come on the floor of the House.
Justice delayed is justice denied. The hundreds of people who are languishing in prisons across the country without a fair hearing can attest to this statement. But if Parliament fast-tracks these amendments, there is hope that justice will be served and the accused may be able to negotiate a lighter sentence. Solomon Serwanja, NTV.
The attack at a Pentecostal church in Chegegwa district last Friday left 2 people dead and many others injured, including a 2-year-old toddler who almost lost her eye. NTV's Suhail Mugabe visited a hospital in the neighboring Chenjojo district where the survivors are being treated.
It's the 3rd day since a gruesome attack was carried out at a church in Chegegwa district by suspected Islamist extremists. A young woman from Chaliboni village and a police officer were killed in the attack. The locals are reeling from the incident. We visited Midas Touch Hospital, where some of the survivors are being treated for severe cuts and injuries. We met Polita Shobia and his sister Sarah Twino Mugisha at the hospital. They both survived being hacked to death by a marauding gang of men wielding axes, machetes, sticks and spears. Twino Mugisha's 2-year-old daughter is said to have almost lost her eye after spears were thrown at her face.
Hata babiri barumu ubwo mu cyobe ubakire bakana bamutera umutwe nibagwata hata nuko bakadanga bakacuma itogu na nabandi byo mwena katoro umuhando gwe nyonki yirukanga na ka police.
Polly and his sister are stuck in hospital, worried of the bill that they have to foot for treatment.
Eriseri bakarichumita hichumu nane hichumu eria hate na shashe nore kunkumkwata oyare.
Authorities at the hospital have a vivid memory of the critical condition they were brought in.
The child had actually a wound on the face, which we actually sutured, and the male also had a wound. However, the lady actually had deep cut wounds, and had lost a lot of blood. So
members of the Muslim community in Chegegwa district are now living in fear following the attack on worshippers at the Pentecostal church.
We are living in fear as I talk now, because they held it to him. They said, go back. We are tired of Muslims who are killers. Muslims, you are assassinators of people.
The area's Muslim leaders have condemned the incident that occurred last Friday morning.
It's an abusive, it's a very bad act in accordance with our religion. Even the Quran doesn't allow us to do such actions.
The area woman member of parliament says this issue should be handled with the utmost care to avoid inciting violence on a religious basis.
So I want really to warn the public of Chegegwa, and especially the people of Magoma, not to invite and incite a religious wrangle, because that one will not stop. So I request that we handle this issue, and whoever is arrested to this effect must be handled as a person, not necessarily that he or she represents any religious sect.
For now, peace and stability have been restored in Chaliboni village, Chegegwa district, following the heavy deployment of not only the police, but also the army. So far, 6 suspects have been apprehended and investigations are still taking place. Suhail Mugabe, NTV, Chegegwa district.
Sad story there. It's 8 years since relative peace returned to northern Uganda, but its effect still bites the region. As Moses Akena reports in the last part of our series on insecurity in the region, illegal guns are fueling a new wave of crime as people struggle to rebuild their lives.
Combat gunshots were last heard in the north 8 years ago, but its impact still resonates in communities because of a number of challenges here. Daniel Komakech, the director, Gulu University's Institute of Peace and Strategic Studies, believes that the region is far from peaceful.
So we still have conflicts, except they've changed the nature. It's no longer LRA, it is various conflicts. You have land, you have issues of the properties, issues of revenge.
At the peak of the conflict, several state operatives were provided guns, Vigilante groups like the Amuka and Arrow Boys in Lango and Teso were also formed. Now questions linger over their demobilization and resettlement.
They call them operative. At night, you find them, all of them moving with guns. And they may say, we are making patrols. You ask yourself, where are they getting those guns from? Is the government giving them those guns? Yet those are civilian, those are boys who stay together with the community members. At night, you find them patrolling with guns.
Government needs to get down and find out whether there are those who receive guns, how they receive the guns, get all their records, recover the guns.
Of concern, too, is the hundreds of people who returned from captivity. Many guns have been collected from them, but there are worries that some may not have handed in their weapons.
We are also beginning to hear that there are those who probably escaped from captivity and they had guns. And some of them, for either fear of, many of them were not sure what would happen. So some of them, out of fear, decided to hide their guns.
People actually trust religious leaders, people trust cultural leaders. UPDF, well, UPDF has its law. You have illegal gun. What do? That is treason. That is an offense.
Let them bring over these weapons to us. We have no trouble with them. But problems emanate from people that sit on them.
Some local leaders, however, say they are yet to know of any illegal guns in their vicinity.
LCs here are usually informed about wrong elements.
Most of the more than 26,000 former LRA abductees have been resettled by non-governmental organizations like World Vision. But with no long-term government plan for their recovery, the excitement that welcomed their return has evaporated.
The orientation in the bush was that you don't have anything, pick a gun, you get what you want. So now that you don't have the livelihood, you've simply been reinserted in the community, the gun becomes an option.
They came back knowing very well that they would be supported, they would be rehabilitated, they would become very productive.
Poverty and unemployment in the region has led to fears that security measures alone may not rid the region of armed robbery.
The robbers are also looking for ways of survival.
The fact that it's coming from a victim of the recent robbery is even more scary. But that is the complexity of the situation here, and a pointer that a more sustainable approach in the recovery of the region should be developed. Moses Sakena, NTV.
You're still watching Morning at NTV this first day of July 2014. We now cross over to Simon, Joel and Bran for the breast review. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Simon.
Mabel, yes indeed, now the real World Cup is beginning. After
exactly.
All these charlatans are out of this, where we have where we have now no more emotional attachment to feeling simply because we come from nearby where they come from. Now let us watch qualitative football. This is what I've been telling people. Yes, it's nice to have African teams there, and we've seen how they have been performing, asking for live cash.
Sincerely.
Listen, I can tell you one thing for sure. That is why I work on these TV stations. TV stations have given me offers. But simply because they don't match up to the standard which I want to associate with, I will not go there. Likewise, I will not associate with the charlatans and mediocres simply because they are same, and they are the World Cup. No, I will support the team. Well, good morning once again. I know for many of you it's not a very good morning, especially after last evening's soccer debacle, but that will be discussed further with my colleague who understands more football than anything else. I understand other things like reading through the newspapers, and that's what we're going to do shortly after this. For those of you who are just waking up from that debilitating loss of Nigeria and Algeria, good morning. It couldn't have not been expected on your side. But well, I know many times you think that water will turn to wine, but I've only heard of only one case. That was at the wedding in Ghana.
It was that much of any possibility.
I have also known that it has only taken 1 man to resurrect from the dead after 3 days, and that is Lazarus. I have also known that only one guy was able to walk on the surface of water, and he did it once in his 33 years of life. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the press review, Morning at NTV. My name is Simon Kasiate. I'm joined by the very sad Joel and Brian, having now had their last hopes dashed by the two African teams that were surviving in this going on World Cup in Brazil. Again, good morning, gentlemen.
What is good about this morning? Look, of course, yeah, it is not a very good one. I'm not much of a soccer fan, really, but I want to be behind Africa. I want to be behind Uganda. Okay, Uganda only plays, I don't know, Kunamwaya and the like, you know. If you ask me what I know about soccer, this Suarez guy, they come and eat. I'm told the other day his wife called him and said, honey, what should I prepare for dinner? And he said, no, I've eaten at work. They've developed lots of artwork for Suarez. And even before the match.
But let me just ask, and if it was Emenike that had behaved extraordinarily.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad it's Suarez. They'll be talking about how we are monkeys and bones and,
yes.
You know. Oh, he'll be banned for life.
This time around, an Emenike eat a fellow friend seems to be playing out in the red paper here. We see that President Museveni, according to the red paper, was blocked from Mbabazi's radio. Many times we see people being blocked by Museveni. I'm talking about people who come in the court of Museveni blocking others. Now, we see now President Museveni himself being blocked from Mbabazi's radio. It is here.
You might be shocked what you find that's the eternal story.
That is the headline.
You might be very shocked.
And we also told in Ekika that State House has slammed Rugunda and Mutebire over Mbabazi. Now, yesterday's headline in the red paper was that Amama has been fronted to take over the reins of power by his fellow Rugunda and Mutebire. Sorry, his fellow Bachiga, Rugunda and Mutebire and others. Now, when you get down to reading this story, you say that efforts by State House handlers to use Premier Mambabazi's 88.8 Kinkizi FM to do political mobilization and generate momentum for President Museveni's upcoming Kandugu visit ended in utter failure last night when it emerged that management wasn't willing to host pro-Museveni speakers.
You see?
Now, I think the headline should have said pro-Museveni speakers block, but Museveni.
Yes, like they said Museveni cash stolen in lodge. But anyhow, looking at the Daily Monitor, top story here, police probe poisoning claims at top ministry. This is the local government ministry, and it's alleged an official there was poisoned. You know, there's sackfuls of bidding and procurement documents that are lost and many other things that are yet to be unearthed. And the other day we heard about the letter bomb at Parliament. I guess it kind of also talks about the safety of our ministry.
I ask you a question, Adi. If it was a Menike who would be going around biting people, we would be called barbarians and all that. Forcefully, really? When in this day and age, that a simple conflict at work will determine someone to be poisoned.
Some even got to the extent of really slitting your neck. This one was poisoned, it's not dead
it happens here in this barbarian society. But anyway, I know
people are that desperate
I know Russia has done the same to its foreign spies, but clearly, no. I mean,
and there are allegations of some of our neighbors doing the same to their allies.
Exactly. So, there we are.
Now, we also told the NSSF board chair is welcoming some pension reforms. This is what he did say. For these reforms to bear the intended good, we must be careful on how we go about them, otherwise we may end up repeating mistakes that have been committed in other countries. This is Mr. Ivan Chayonka. You know, my question, of course, is when does NSSF learn? Year in, year out, they are talking about reforms. With the new MD comes new reforms. With the new MD comes reforms.
Yeah, but I mean, what else are you doing if you're a new MD that's not coming to carry out some
will
new
a
reforms?
Will a new player in the market actually make them realize that this is serious business, or they think now they will still have enough freedom to make mistakes?
I can tell you one thing. Of all the quasi-government corporations around this place, let's cut some slack to NSSF. I think that NSSF has tremendously done a very good job in terms of one, despite their inherently bad image from the top that every managing director in the recent past seems to go off uncanningly. The biggest problem NSSF faces is this political interference that comes in from charlatans who do not even contribute to that fund. I don't even see what business these members of parliament have always poking their nose into NSSF. They
are your representatives, I thought. You elected them. You tell them what you want.
Why don't they represent me in also contributing there?
In contributing there? Yeah. Well, they want to make sure that you have something at the end of your retirement, but you certainly do have a point. You know?
Which MP there, even some of my very good friends there, really care what happens to me after I have finished, I've clocked 55 or I've become
do you care what happens to them?
They have demonstrated to me that I do not have to waste not even 1 millisecond of my life to care about them. because clearly they don't serve the purpose for which many of them are elected.
There's something interesting here on page 3. This is His Excellency the President saying extravagance is hindering youth development. I like what the lizard here is saying. The lizard says, sounds like do as I say and not as I do.
But you see, he's talking about youth. Museveni is not a youth, so he's extravagant as an adult. Let youth be frugal. Let them work hard and save.
So frugality is just for young
youth,
people.
exactly. For young people. Then when you have reached the point of self-actualization and you have reached our age, then now you can now become exorbitant and start living large and all that.
If it's your money, then it's okay. If it is not your money, there is a problem.
I see in the red paper here, the Kampala Capital City Executive Director allegedly greeting the Enago bosses for the delay of works down here at Jinja Road. And I'm asking myself, well, why do you have to do Jinja Road thrice when Robert Mugabe Road has not even been given a slashing?
Yeah, because you have to blame your mayor.
My mayor Karumba, that one,
yes.
He can be very sure like day follows night. He is not going to have a good ride on this one. You don't do anything about Robert Mugabe Road, Karumba, read my lips. I will support anything. And when I say I'm talking about myself and the other several voters in my household. And we have the ability to mobilize others because members, Nakawa residents are busy watching. They are seeing roads being made in Minister's Village. They have just seen one almost half a kilometer done in Mutungu, and Robert Mugabe remains undone. And several other things remain stored.
But question, I want to ask, because again, politicians use this to lie to their electorate. Who has the power to determine what road will be worked on? Well, of course, okay, you might be blaming Kalumba. But Kalumba, does he have a say? Can he go to Jennifer and say, Jennifer,
when Kalumba was campaigning, he came and told me personally in my face, that Benjamin man, oh, Simon, this road here, I can tell you when I get at City Hall. This
have
road
you
here,
gotten in touch with him, or you just come here and learn and
he is watching, let him, when he was coming campaigning, they look for him, he came looking for me.
Yeah,
he
now
has
you
never
look for
returned.
him. You wanted your vote, now you want a road.
Now, okay, fine, let him remain in the comfort of his wonderful blue number-plated KCCA car.
I thought he
returned that one. Because he bashed it, and he knows what he was doing before that. Then I also sit in the comfort.
What are you insinuating? But look, you're talking about
if
this road.
If a breathalyzer had been put to him, let me not start the
let's go back to my question. My question was, are we so naive that we think these people have the capacity to construct roads for us?
If as our leaders they don't, who does?
You guys are talking about this Jinja Road. There have been complaints. You know, as you come from Lugogo bypass, that there used to be access actually from say Nakawa. You could cut through to Lugogo
around
bypass.
The game.
It's not possible anymore, and
you have
many people are not amused.
You have to first come to the taxi park to now move there. That is the story of Uganda. People are leaving Jinja going to Entebbe Airport, and you have to first come to Kampala CBD when there is a shower line connecting Jinja and.
But they are building for you the southern bypass. You know, there have been accidents on that road. It's
southern bypass. So you leave Jinja, connect the northern bypass, and reach Chengera. Then you access the southern bypass to Entebbe.
Yes.
Oh.
Police postponed a public auction of Parliament pigs. These pigs were meant to be auctioned yesterday. It did not happen.
Wait a minute, I was expecting them to be stew for somebody yesterday at lunchtime.
No, it did not happen. The deputy police spokesperson says we are going back to court. We will be re-advised on this is really a total waste of time. I really resent these people for taking such time on these pigs. These pigs are more in the news than some important issues. Really, now you're going to auction pigs? Well, because they cannot be dealt with any other way.
What do you mean they cannot be
dealt?
Let them take them to FUFA.
FUFA knows how to work on those things.
That was the previous management. Anyway, traders pin Uganda National Bureau of Standards on counterfeits. I had Miss, what's her name? I had this one, Patricia, here the other day, and she was talking very strongly on how UNBS is raining on to counterfeits and fake products. And you remember she gave us the distinction between the two. Yes. Now we are seeing traders pinning UNBS on counterfeits, meaning that UNBS staff, some of them are not up to the task. They do connive with some traders like these fake, anyway. Fake trader, it's what it says here. Lin Liu being questioned by one of the CID detectives. Fake traders, and when you ask where they are coming from and where their products come from, it points to one direction.
You know, the scary part was when Patricia said there are 200 people employed to do the whole job, the whole country. That is... It's a tight one. It's a tall order. Because one, there are too few, anybody can easily pocket them. But again, we have got how many traders that have got to be supervised. So yeah. And even if they were not taking any bribe, it's just not impossible to man all that. Talking about another Patricia, this is the one Patricia Ojangole. She is finally a smile. You know, the embattled ADB boss. She was
CEO.
acquitted, not embattled anymore. She seems to have finally a smile on her face.
Now let us hold, now that they're out of court, let us see what ADB is out to do to hold them to the fact that they are a development bank who for the most part should be giving out, you know, financial shots in the arm for people who intend to do some very serious business. Many times we're always grappling here that there is no financing of serious projects by serious guys who think about them. Now we have the ADB out of these muddy waters of incompetence, corruption and the others. Now let's give them some, you know, space to do their work and of course keep an eye on them.
All right. This is probably affecting one of the reasons, really, as Ugandans, why we don't read. 80,000 books seized in a raid on bookshops, and they say some of the books have counterfeit material. Many of the books you have on our market here are pirated. You know, people will pick, copy, and paste. You know, I understand Uganda copyright means the right to copy, according to some people, but of course, the people that have rights to these books are coming out to complain. Look, we need to read in this country. For some people, the only book they ever read is Facebook. So one would imagine that if they are pirating so that these books can be read, it is a quote-unquote
people don't want to read in this country so much so that you hear them complaining on Facebook. These guys, instead of telling us what's in the newspapers word for word, they're here just debating. They want to read for them exactly what's their word for word. Please, ours is just entice you to go and pick yourself a copy of the Red Pepper, the Daily Monitor, and the Tri-Weekly Observer so that you can read for yourself.
Southern bypass to connect through Luzira.
Oh, finally.
Don't you stay near Luzira? So Kalumba's brought the southern bypass.
Okay, that's very good.
Near,
I'm sure he brought the sunrise this morning. So, but for that matter, he doesn't work on Robert Mugabe Road.
He's in trouble.
He's in trouble.
You know this guy, he reminds me of guys who study.
And you know,
you find a small guy, I will beat you, I will beat. I don't know, you go behind the room, you clobber the guy.
And for me, what is a bit startling, and I want to go out, this weekend I'm going to look out, I'm going to ask the area MP who is a benefactor of mine, I want to ask him, who is it that we can really front? Because
are you serious, Simon?
I'm very serious. Only at no one from
Nakawa. The area MP? Why don't you ask the residents of the area? Is it the area MP that you know has got
like you say, the area MP represents the residents. So I'll ask the area MP. No, seriously. Anyone who intends to contest for the Nakawa LC5 chair, the mayorship of Nakawa, kindly get in touch with me. I want to start a serious movement against incompetent leadership, and it starts with me.
Starts with you. I hope you are a competent leader in that your house.
I have never claimed to be. That's why no one is thinking of impeaching me. Me, I am as humble, incompetent as it gets.
They have a choice. Well, I'm telling some guys that look, if
for us of Nakawa, we have a choice, and I haven't seen the choice, but we will look for the choice.
Well, the police chief, General Kale Kayihura, yesterday... That's quote of the day. Yes, quote of the day, saying sometimes they walk through metallic detectors break down, and when they were tested, they could not detect a person.
I am getting sick and infuriated by these remarks attributed to General Kale Kayihura. Him to come all over the place exposing the weaknesses in his own backyard. I would be more comfortable if he went out of the way to tell us solutions. We already know that these walk-through things are not working. We know that some of your police officers are incompetent. We know that the police force is not coherent. We know that your police force is everything that is not up to the mark. Don't tell us what we already know. Tell us what it is that you are there to fix. That's the reason you're IGP. I mean, let's not cut people here some slack. Then I come here and start whinging. Oh, we can't wake up in the... You know, it's very difficult to wake up in the morning to present a show. You know, our cameras sometimes break down. We are not... It's not in our place. Start telling people the kind of bottlenecks that we face to present to them this show. There are 1 million bottlenecks we face here. Sometimes our children fall sick. We wake up on the wrong side of our beds. We are just in a bad mood. But we are here every morning to present to them this show. And it starts on time.
Is Kale Kayihura looking for sympathy for us to understand?
What sympathy? He's there as the IGP. He's not doing anyone a favor. He's doing a job for which he's paid.
Right. For which he applied. Look,
exactly.
I imagine
he forfeited a serious degree in London to come here and fight and bring peace to this country and all that. Now he's been given the job of IGP. And he's here whinging to us every day. Let him go to parliament. Let him tell us. Let him tell us, I'm planning to do this, I'm planning to do the other, I'm planning to do the other. Or else let him keep quiet.
Isn't that the culture that Ugandans use? When they fail to do their job, they want people to understand they are
A
failing.
bad
Look for
workman,
alibis and that kind of thing.
a bad workman
Blames their tools.
Thank you. And that's Kaihura now.
The idiosyncrasies of Kale Kaihura are probably copied from somebody, you know. You've seen at rallies, when things are not working, they call the minister and they embarrass them. Why aren't you doing this job? The cow, why aren't you doing this job?
I've seen Kale parading. The other day, a mob descends on in Natete. You remember sometime back in Natete, where he and his boss were there depeeping a guy and, you know, arresting a senior police officer in public, embarrassing him before the public. Months later, the same mob for which they were trying to play politics before descended on the same police station in Natete and burnt it down. Because to that mob, the power and aura of a police officer in their area had been demystified.
Yes.
So for Kaihura to start telling us how the police doesn't have enough ammunition, doesn't have workable metal detectors and all that. So what is he trying to say? That we organize our own militias? No wonder there is thriving business in private security firms, no matter how incompetent those private security guys are anyway.
All right, we are told use culture to promote development. Look, I've seen many a culture in this country that is derogatory, the way we tend to do things. I've attended a few functions, you know, and I see certain things playing out and I'm thinking, over this is why these guys look at us as barbarians. I think we need to style up, without a doubt. What elements?
Listen, it is no longer a must to pay bride price. So relax. Do not go out
I'm
on
not even talking about bride price. Look, of course, when God blesses me with daughters, I'll not allow anybody to bring for me tomatoes, onions, take my daughter. I may not determine that when I'm going to get somebody's daughter. Look, even if they ask me for, I don't know, 10 cows that have tails, 50 pigs that have horns, I will look for them.
You cannot see the sun until you open your eyes.
But that's not what even
So you're not going to talk about daughters before.
I want to ask you, Joel. I want to ask you, Joel. What elements of culture do you think should be buried? And of course, there was a lot of talk about the genital mutilation, which is it's no longer existent, right?
It's
been outlawed, but it's still all over the place.
I would make my argument on female genital mutilation the same way I would make the same argument on male genital mutilation. Because just like eyes have eyelids, mouths have lips, I think certain body parts should not be mutilated simply because you want to expose them.
You've just told the world what you are...
That for me is my... Especially if it is going to be done to somebody against their will or consent. Like you get a little child and all that. You see, for those who have decided to pierce their ears in old age, who have decided to cut off their lips in old age out of whatever, who have decided to remove their eyelids because they think they want to see better, they want to sleep, so they remove their eyelids and other lids of other body parts at an old age, it is okay. That's your personal decision. But that, for me, I can say it also as genital mutilation because human nature is created to have that.
Right. But that is not called barbaric. Some people say they can't use the toilet because they'll become infertile. But the point I see about, you know, the Bagis, and I'm not a Mugisu, I'm not denigrating their culture. There's a guy, I think 2 days ago, that was grabbed somewhere in Tinder, humiliated and, you know, undressed, and then they sliced the guy in public. Yeah, he ran away from this is not right. But you see, why should it be by force, for example? Anyway, that is their culture. Some of the cultural tendencies that I'm opposed to. Right. Anyway.
Going back to the whole issue of the police chief going around the place whinging and calling for whatever. No. I want now to make a long extended invitation to our good friend Enanga. Everybody seems to commend him for doing a tremendous job in terms of creating a good, composed image of a police spokesperson. Fred Enanga, kindly come here and we have this long discussion on what are these issues that are bedeviling the police and what it is that you have in your pot of tricks to ensure that even we citizens can come in and help you. Because it looks like clearly the government which you are is not helping you. So come down here. Perhaps this will be one step towards helping you. We can even start a mobilizing and fundraising drive. We've seen people going around the country seeking fundraising drives to get some grass to search their hearts and all that. We can do the same to buy you ammunition.
Right. Someone is probably looking for some money here and bring the discussion, or the ridiculous discussion of changing the national anthem. Why do you say it's ridiculous? It's ridiculous. This is one of the best anthems in the world. Brazil's anthem sounds like a poem.
Like a war cry.
Probably that's the same way they look at yours. The music stops and then they talk, then you just hear the whole stadium.
For me, my problem is this whole Ugandan thing of, you know, trying to break our heritage, trying to change everything.
Change the constitution.
Our constitution has been
adapted. Certain changes.
No, our constitution has faced the highest mutilation. I mean, you talk about genital mutilation.
Actually, my problem is
I have not seen any mutilation like has been done on our Ugandan constitution. I mean, we see, you know, historic installations being broken down in the face of modernization. The other day, the first building on top of Nakasero Hill, which was Fort Lugard, was broken down. It has a history. It has a story to tell about Uganda.
Guys, for how long shall we stick to, I mean, a building is dilapidated, people need to, you know, probably use
but
that.
you see, I'm talking about, listen, what isn't dilapidated about this new imposing structure I see in the same place that even before it is opened?
I actually saw it the other day and it's already in bad shape.
You need to maintain. If Britain still has Shakespeare's house that was constructed in 17 something.
You're the one who keeps saying that we should not
no, I mean, I'm just giving you
them as big brother anyway.
No, I'm just saying you who always aspire to be like them. So why don't you aspire in that aspect? If you got the city of London, for example, Oxford Street, these buildings there, they were constructed after the Great London Fire. Outside they look, you know, rustic and all that. Inside they are maintained and they are well.
You're even going far. Nairobi too has those buildings. So why are we?
Here, but without a doubt, I have issues with you know, our
this whole thing. It's this whole thing of wanting to make this country seem like it started in 1986. That everything that was as of 1986 must be changed going forward. That a national anthem. Then I saw, with all due respect to Alex Mukuru, the Uganda anthem starts with a cry. Oh, does he have an idea what I say when I arrive home? I say, oh my girls, you know. I'm just saying, oh, but please, I will not allow someone here hiding behind this.
You're saying his problem is Luzungu.
Even more.
Alex is probably looking for some quick buck.
Exactly. And
how much are we paying for it?
Why should we sacrifice our pecuniary needs at the expense of the posterity of a country? You're talking about patriotism. I can tell you, whichever charlatans are behind this whole, even who thought about the idea of changing the national anthem, they have no idea. Right. What if they would rather think of annexing another area, territorial area from Kenya? We go and fight Kenya, take away some part of Kenya and bring it to Uganda. Then we know we've added something to ourselves, rather than changing a national anthem. For me, these things make me angry.
You're very angry.
And that's what we'll be discussing on the big story by the this morning.
Right.
If you think I am angry now, wait for the next section.
Briefly, in the Prosper magazine, cashing in on digital media, there's a lady here who, you know, was in the media as we know it for quite a while. She went digital. Who is this one?
Shanice Kachungira.
You were saying she looks like who now?
Oh, she's she looked. This picture looked different. I couldn't make out until I read the caption. But well, I'm glad that she's. You know, many times, folks who get themselves comfortable in employment never think that there is a world out there of self-employment, and especially breaking ground kind of employment where you go out and, you know, seek new frontiers that others have not even thought about. And I'm glad that even for her, being a lady. You know, I'm not trying to sound sexist, but you see, very few of them are willing to, you know, bite the bullet and go out, go into self-employment. And I want to believe that she's happier and more industrious to herself.
She's definitely a strong lady. She's one of the best female. She was one of the best. And I think
for many people who are looking out for inspiration, they should actually look in her direction, see how you can start a small business.
And I see ladies doing that quite a bit. I know one who resigned a powerful job. She's now rearing chicken and selling eggs, you know, but she's probably watching this morning.
Right.
Good for them. Good for them.
Well, the World Cup is still on, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure
the real World Cup has now started.
Simon saying that the real World Cup has started. Belgium and the US will meet today, and Switzerland and Argentina will also be playing. Isma will be telling us more details later in the sports update.
Well, on the international scene, we get reports that the Nigerian army did raid some installations belonging to the Boko Haram intelligence. The question is, did they come out with one or all the 200 of the guards? That is one of the stories playing out on the international scene. Mabel, what else do we have on the international scene as we wake up this wonderful Tuesday morning?
Simon, this Tuesday morning we are starting off with CNN, and in Poland the ceasefire is no more. The current President Petro Poroshenko says that we will attack, we will free our land. He says the chance for peace was lost because of the continued activities of the pro-Russian militants. We shall see how that continues to play out. Now on Africa, on the BBC Africa page, Oscar Pistorius had no mental disorder, according to what was heard yesterday in the trial. This means that the Olympic athlete is criminally responsible for his actions when he shot his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. Also on CNN, we have early last month, some 3 Israeli boys went missing. They have been found dead, unfortunately, in the West Bank. So tensions, obviously, between Israel and Hamas is, you know, it's getting hotter and hotter there. And Israel, in no uncertain terms, obviously blames the disappearance and deaths on Hamas in this case. We're going to continue seeing how it will play out. Hamas says Hamas will pay, according to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. On the BBC Sport page, Luis Suarez, this is very interesting here. He says, sorry for the bite. And I quote, he says, the truth is that my colleague Chilini suffered the physical result of a bite in the collision he suffered with me. Now, I don't know, that I think he's trying to say he actually didn't do it. He's just said he suffered in a collision. I'm telling you, must have been written by a lawyer or a spin doctor, as Joel likes to call them. The last country standing, Germany and Algeria, the last African country standing, well, they stood till extra time. When Ozil, you know, when we want him to score for Arsenal, he doesn't score as much. Now he's scoring against, you know, Algeria. Life can be so unfair sometimes. Now, this is a man we haven't heard about in a while, the Toronto mayor here, Rob Ford, who had lots of things going on in his life. Well, now Rob Ford has been in rehab, and he says the staff there have helped save his life. Also on Sky page, Hamas will pay as the bodies of the 3 teenagers have been found. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said they were kidnapped and murdered in cold blood by wild beasts. And nearly 2,000 people have been killed as U.S. bolsters Iraq forces. The death toll in Iraq has reached its highest monthly figure since May 2007 as government forces fight back in Tikrit. We know the U.S. has sent an extra 200 troops to Iraq to fight the Islamist militants there. We do know that an Islamic state in the areas of Iraq and Syria has been declared. More helicopters are going, as well as drone aircraft. Obama is saying he's going to reform immigration on his own by passing Congress. Yesterday, the Republicans refused to be part of it. They said they will not. The Republican speaker told Obama last week his chamber would not vote on immigration. And if you're going to be using British Airways anytime soon, they have designed a new blanket, a happiness blanket. This blanket has neurons and sensors, and it turns red if you're feeling distressed during the flight. And I guess the flight attendant will be able to come to you and ask you maybe if you'd like an extra bottle of champagne or wine. I'm sure it only applies to first class anyway. And quite interesting there. Yeah, so we'll see if this blanket will eventually make its way to our East African airlines that we have flying across from one nation to another. That's all we had for you on the international scene. Morning on NTV continues after this break.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Molondo.
Bwana Yesu akugamba akomawodi.
Teka omulimu gweweru. 2 comes your way at 10 p.m. hosted by the most high-rated hosts, Frank.
Bawala bagamba kishe twagala okufungirwa. Never guy out very serious.
We're confident this will be a smooth ride into our English news bulletin.
Nembala yirire. You are candidates for Hague.
Katukome wotan.
The nerves, the pressure.
It's locked up. What rubbish is this?
And the joy will be unveiled. Have all the entertainment.
Good morning, beautiful.
Motivation, inspiration.
Love is not about public opinion.
And the celebration all in one.
You may now kiss the bride.
I'm loving the red velvet.
I like it. And I can't wait to say I do.
This is not your typical wedding show. It's fresh. It's different.
Wedding Glitz, coming soon only on NTV.
The 4th annual Dog
Dog Show and Bazaar is back. Come and be a part of man's best friend as they compete in tracking, agility and course maneuver, attack, dog handling. 6th of July at the Chadondo Rugby Club grounds from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 20,000 shillings for adults and 10,000 shillings for children. Can your dog manage any of these challenges? For all dog owners and lovers.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Molondo.
13 minutes on to 8 o'clock this first day of July. We cross over to Simon to find out the news in today's big story. Hello, Simon. Whom are you speaking to today? Hello, Simon. I think you can't hear me.
I've already taken a position.
Hello, Simon.
Gentlemen watching us the big story this morning. For the first time, I want to declare my complete conflict of interest here. The big story this morning, we're discussing the reproducing of the national anthem. And my personal view, which I will express so passionately on this section of the big story this morning, is that that should never happen the way it is being planned to happen. Reproducing the national anthem over my dead body. We'll be right back after this. Some of you may consider it a bit unprofessional for anyone to swear on air, but when it comes to matters that are very close to someone's heart, I think desperate times will call for desperate measures. And I'm sure the same sentiments may resonate with many of you. And if they are not, this is what I am here to do for you, to drum up the support that we should revolt against the reproduction of the national anthem in the way they want to make it. They want to make an orchestra, they want to bring an American businessman, come, producer, and change what we have known for the last 52 years as our national heritage, our national anthem. Good morning, my name is Simon Kasiate, and the big story this morning, that's the discussion that we are having, reproducing the national anthem. Now, on the 25th day of June 2014, Minister Mariam Tagamba, the Minister of Tourism, say the anthem will not be changed but will only be given visuals. But from how we understand it and the information we have it in the grapevine where all the things normally happen, this anthem is getting mutilated. You've heard of female genital mutilation, now it's going to get worse on our national anthem. This morning to discuss this emotive issue and perhaps maybe also show us another perspective is a competent person in matters of music, which I am not. Milton Wabiona, he's a lecturer in the Department of Performing Arts and Film at Makerere University and also a performer himself. Milton has a choir which for the most part sings our anthem in a very graphic manner that you feel Ugandan over and over again, more like feeling born again. Milton has also sung and participated in the reproduction of many songs, but certainly not anthems. Good morning, Milton, and welcome to the show this morning.
Good morning, and good morning, viewers.
What's your take? Let's start from there. Our national anthem being changed the way we are told it should be changed. What's your take from an overview?
My take is more or less like yours. Simon was the first person who heard the news. I reacted immediately when I got to know that the anthem was going to be changed, and especially the following, the reasons that were presented for why that was going to be done. We thought that was not really realistic. And as a musician, as a Ugandan, then I felt that was one thing that I had to come up in every way possible to make sure that we present our position.
From where you sit, maybe I'm getting it wrong and I'm becoming so emotional, I'm jumping the gun, I'm not understanding what I'm talking about. What are these changes that are being proposed for the national anthem?
Well, according to
I've told about an orchestra. What else?
Well, an orchestra is fine. But according to, if we refer to what was presented on TV, at least what we watched, the artist who was present, Mr. Alex Mukulu, presented that the national anthem starts in an agonizing manner.
Oh,
Uganda.
You have an idea, you can say, oh, Uganda.
Yes, there is a radio ad which is actually using such kind of an expression. Even the American anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, starts with oh. Does that mean that it is agonizing? So I think that's a different perspective. I think our anthem has the best way of construction, both in poetry and in music. it's the best representation of Ugandan values, Ugandan history, Ugandan tradition, and all that Uganda aspires to be.
Milton, when this anthem as we know it was, I mean, how did it come to be? There was a call for tender, musicians put in, there is always, was it Gracie Binjera, was it George Kakoma, was it who? Different people put in their bids, a selection was done, and the final piece was selected. Now we are told of already appointed American producer, John Gado. We are seeing the likes of Alex Mukuru hovering all over the place. What was, did you get information of the process, the bidding process? Because I'm sure they should have contacted Makerere University Department of MDD.
No. The only thing we saw was the press presentation when the minister was giving their view, was giving her view that this is what the plan is, and this is what it's going to do, and these are the experts who are going to do it. So there was no formal process. When the anthem was being inaugurated, it was openly advertised, and different players, for instance, musicians, in most cases, not the best poets. So that brings in a different player.
Exactly.
People from the languages have got to write a really representative poem.
Absolutely. Because I also know the best musicians are not necessarily the best songwriters.
They don't.
Exactly.
It's not like like that. It doesn't
it's
work.
only Kenneth Edmonds, Babyface, who writes and sings.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, our viewers, you may listen to another orchestra coming in from the surroundings of the Kampala Serena Hotel. Yes, you always know we come to you from the rooftop, and down at the bottom there's somebody maintaining their immaculately manicured lawns, and that's the orchestra that is disturbing us this morning, perhaps the kind that they intend to include in our national anthem. $75,000 US. Aren't you already smelling the usual Ugandanese thing of always chasing the money at the expense of national heritage?
Well, Simon...
it's a little money, yes, but I'm sure there will be an amendment upwards for this.
Yeah, usually things happen like this in Uganda, so that's what causes us to worry. The intention that is presented, that they want to promote tourism, and you choose to spend that money and attach it to the national anthem, and especially changing it for tourism advertising.
I'm failing to understand this nexus between tourism and our national anthem bastardization in a country where even the minister herself, I can dare her, unless she goes to do her homework. Tell me, at what point do you think, Milton, you are a celebrated anthem singer? The other day you were at the Nordic celebrations and you sang their anthems like you are part of them. Do you think in your wildest of imaginations, these Nordic countries would ever hire your services to go and recompose their national anthems? You, Milton Waviona, here from Bunyoro.
I will tell you, thank you for bringing up that example.
So why would we bring an American guy, John Gado? Yes, he's black. He could have been, his ancestors could have been, and sorry if I sound xenophobic, could have been here millions of years ago. But there is that level of the failure to be rustic, to be Ugandan.
Well, my argument in the article that I submitted, which was published in the Monitor, was that if the major element of the anthem are the lyrics, because it's supposed to be a piece for the nationals to the lowest level, and everybody must understand, even at the lowest level of understanding. You have talked about me participating at the Nordic Day celebrations. For instance, I'll take, these are people who have got some of the best orchestras to play their anthem, but they choose to put this aside and they say, Milton, can you come and sing?
Here in Uganda, because they're in Uganda.
Yes, and the kind of impression that comes by singing an anthem is what makes it live, makes it living. And it makes the people experience that eulogizing moment of their nation, of their country, of the values that they stand for. And that is what exactly happened. And if you attended them, you should have seen how all those anthems are composed. There was no anthem that had a sense of rap or... And I don't think they're bad.
Well, maybe I'm sure our minister has watched enough of the Brazilian anthem and possibly wants it to be like a war cry, or maybe also sound like that chant that the New Zealanders always make before they play any of those rugby games. But I am also concerned by this whole move of keeping it under wraps and only just declaring it to the country. Milton, maybe you're not a politician, and maybe politicians would say, as advice for you to make more money out of this project, because I'm sure without a doubt, and you can take me to court if you so wish, I suspect someone is out there to earn pecuniary from this change of national anthem. Can I give you more advice on how to make more money? Call for a referendum. Referendums normally cost a lot of money and you can play around with the dimes. Call for a referendum on whether or not this anthem could or should be changed. You may lose the referendum because I'm very sure I would campaign against the change of this, whatever. But at least you have made some money for yourself. So you won't have gone away empty-handed. Tell me, Milton, as a musician here, reproducing an anthem, many people have argued that perhaps the anthem, being predominantly in English, should be changed into the local dialects. And we sing it in our normal Ugandan languages. What do you have to say about that? Keep the tune, translate the words, and let's roll.
First and foremost, I disagree with the issue that the language is a problem, is a hindrance for us knowing the anthem. Simon Cassette, you speak of English almost all your life.
No, but I have also gone to villages where no one can speak English, but you find them singing songs in other languages.
Exactly.
In Kabari, you find people miming to Congolese songs. They are singing in Lingala.
No, they sing songs of 50 Cent.
Exactly.
Okay? I don't think 50 Cent sings Acholi. Okay? But you go to Amuria, you'll find people miming his songs. So I think it is the mode of presentation in which the way this anthem has been presented to the people that has caused them not to know it. If you play this song in a band, we have 3 stanzas. If you give me a chance, I will try to just briefly highlight what these stanzas stand for.
Tell me, you are the professional here.
The first verse is a prayer and a dedication of Uganda. And this is derived from the motto of Uganda, for God and my country.
And I think Uganda needs nothing but prayers, really.
No, exactly, but that is a foundation. That is our moral authority. That is what we have. That is what we are. When Uganda was born at independence, everybody was saying, wow, this is like a newborn baby. Let's dedicate. And that is our nature as Ugandans. So the first verse, you'll see that it's dedicating, O Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand, in God's hand, mighty hand. Okay?
Where else will you find fortitude?
Then the second verse. The second verse is about Uganda's foreign policy, in my understanding. O Uganda, the land of freedom, our love and labor we give, and with neighbors all. This song was composed in 1962. But look at how we...
playing the big brother role.
Big brother role in the Great Lakes region. This is 52 years later. And you see that we are still relevant.
Look at how we are now the president of the UN General Assembly.
Exactly. And this is already enshrined in our... reflected in the current state of the anthem. The third verse is a pledge of allegiance. O Uganda, the land that feeds us. Simon, who feeds you? Your mother. Can you bite your mother?
Certainly not.
You will not. The land that feeds us by sun and fertile soil grown. These are the ingredients,
what makes
our mother. The sun, the fertile soil grown. If you have traveled around, you will know that there's no country like Uganda where you have the sun every single day.
And at the right time.
At the right time. You can predict that it will shine.
It starts shining at 3 a.m. It doesn't stop until midnight.
You can even know when it's going to rain, and it will rain. The fertile soil, and then we go ahead to swear for our own dear land. That is an oath, like in the military. For our own dear land, we shall always stand, no matter what. Now here...
Then now you get some charlatans here coming to change the anthem and bastardize the exact last sentences of the last stanza.
Well,
where is
as far as I'm concerned, this one is now a bigger war for all Ugandans to fight, irrespective of whatever you believe in.
Milton, and those who think like that, you can be very sure amongst your captains is myself. The move to...
Thank you.
And by extension, I invite anyone from that side, including you, the minister, or you, Alex Mukuru, or you, Gado, come and sit here. At least you already know my position. Come and convince me otherwise. But I dare you. Whether you continue like this, I don't think you will convince anybody. Finally, time is not certainly an ally on our side, Milton. From where you come from as someone that is into the business of teaching, performing arts and all that, can we say that rustic, authentic Ugandan music and composition has become so adulterated that in fact for us to have any sensible music coming out of us, we must employ the services of a foreign producer?
That is unfortunate, most unfortunate. I'm sorry to say, to use the word ridiculous, I would say. Well, we have studied. We go to study in Europe and America for the things that we don't have in Uganda here. But I want to tell you, within our community here, we have the most educated and competent personnel to produce something of the quality and of the stature that represents Ugandan values than going out to hire international artists, we can hire international artists on things that we don't have, especially things to do with technology. We are not quite at the level of those countries. If we were looking for sound engineers, and yes, we can hire their services. But as far as the really primary work of composition, construction, of thinking, I think it was a way of the mark.
Well, the biggest reason for changing or altering our constitution, for that matter, is the need to create more awareness about Uganda through tourism. Without a doubt, music, dance, and drama do play a huge role in portraying a country to be that indigenous place you should go to. Tell us from your analysis, how have we been able to harness the already existing local and indigenous music that we have, the local and indigenous plays, the local and indigenous drama acts, to bring in more people? Today, all the world is gathered in Rwanda to name gorillas. They have a handful of them. The bulk of our gorillas are here in Uganda. But Rwanda, with their meager resources, are able to advert and galvanize people and bring them down there. Get them to dance. I know that there are tourism trails in Rwanda where tourists are paying to participate in the local way of living, to dig, to churn milk, you know, to be involved in making crafts. From a broader perspective, how much have we used our music and performing arts to promote tourism? And by extension, what have we used, whatever else we're endowed with, to promote tourism, that now all else has failed, and now we must go and bastardize our national anthem?
Thank you, Simon, for bringing
that
that
is the question
issue.
I will still ask the minister, but I just want to pick your mind.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to first go back to the anthem immediately in terms of attracting tourism. But that's not its primary objective, though. But I want to say the way our anthem was constructed is so beautiful that I remember I conducted this anthem in Norway with Norwegian singers. And how they were so excited at our song. And I know a number of them have continually come to, have kept a connection with me.
Because of the way the song was sung, how they sang it, how they
even the meaning of the song. They loved it. They said they want to see what this country is. They find it so special.
Only to come here and find pothole riddled
and then on the issue,
that do not even meet up the mark.
On the issue of using performing arts to advertise Uganda, we have really fallen short on that. I want to say that what Brazil is earning in football, we would earn through the music, because we have one of the most peculiar musical and dance cultures in the whole world. I want anyone to come and challenge me. We have one of the most beautiful and diverse. And if we harness that resource, I want to tell you, this question of using our national anthem to attract they actually don't come for this anthem. They will come more to dance the Chichiga dance, for the Chichiga, for the Orunyege, for the Bola. You know, those are more stronger tourist attractions.
I'm sure if you play the Kadodi in London, you can get a trail of people walking on foot up to down here, because it is a peculiar way. Certainly, I played
the Ngalabi on the street, on a train station in Oslo, and you don't know what friends it happened. All journalists.
How much money you gathered, because they keep putting money in the bag.
In one day, I made $1,200, just one day.
There we have it, and can you beat that? Now you want to change our national anthem at $75,000 US. Milton, I must thank you for joining us. For the first time, I am in total agreement with my guest, and certainly even spitting more fire than you are doing. But we thank you for coming around. Let's take a short break and return. It's Simon Says. There is such a thing as objectivity in journalism. This morning, is it the 1st of July, Milton?
Yeah, it is.
This morning, the 1st of July, I have thrown away every form of objectivity through the window. And I have chosen to take one objective line and say, I personally, as a moderator of a show that's supposed to be impartial, I strongly associate myself to those calling for the stop to move the direction of adulterating. And I'm using the word adulterating deliberately. If you want me to use another word, I will say, I can't find, for once I'm at a loss of words.
Okay.
If you want to mutilate our national anthem, kindly, posterity will judge you so harshly as somebody who threw down Uganda's only surviving heritage down the line. I mean, we've seen you break down historic installations, wonderful schools, and now all we have is ground zero. We've seen you break down rustic buildings. We've seen you break down a culture. We've seen you bastardize our natural societal settings. We've seen you do all sorts of things. We've seen you plunder, pillage, bleed people. We've seen you kill Ugandans. That we can stomach. Maybe that is the cost of being a modern country. But changing our national anthem, I think that is too much a cost to pay, even if it is at $75,000 US. This is just a figurative amount of money, but you have no idea how many hearts you'll be breaking. But with that, I still send an invitation, open and clear. Tomorrow morning, please come here, Mr. Alex Mukulu. Please come here, Honorable Minister Maria Mutagama, and explain to us in more certain terms. Perhaps we missed something in translation. Come and tell us what it is that you have failed to do in all your ingenious and thinking ways, that now the best thought that has come to your mind is to change our national anthem the way you are proposing to. And, like that's not bad enough, instead of using the likes of Milton here and a fully fledged Department of Music, Dance and Drama, or even calling for open bids of nationals, you are bringing in an American producer whose procurement process we are not yet sure about. Have a good morning.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
You can bring everybody in parliament as long as they can wake up and vote for the NRM.
As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda.
I know him. I know how he operates. I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around these obstacles.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am a Muyai?
It's absolutely true. I admired the President Museveni.
Is the ICC a fiscal code targeting African leaders?
You cannot tell me that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only the two individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see, God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Destiny River.
I sold the harvest from sunflower. I sold the entire harvest from sunflower.
Congratulations, Estella.
Thank you.
For the great deal.
Listen, Max, if you called me here to tell me to break up with Janana...
Do you think I'm stupid, Fred? Hey, Fred, would I ask a stud like you to break up with the best woman in Araguaya?
Neka, I'm a fugitive of the law, and she's a police officer. With me in jail.
Stop that, because I'm gonna prove that you're innocent.
Destiny River.
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
The nerves, the pressure.
It's locked up. What rubbish is this?
And the joy will be unveiled. Have all the entertainment.
Good morning, beautiful.
Motivation, inspiration.
Love is not about public opinion.
And the celebration all in one.
You may now kiss the bride.
I'm loving the red velvet.
I like it.
And I can't wait to say I do.
This is not your typical wedding show. It's fresh. It's different.
Wedding Glitz, coming soon only on NTV.
Hey there, Mr. Krabs! Are you ready to party?
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it, move it.
Wow! Hello, fellow motor enthusiastics.
Oh, Mr. Krabs!
Isn't there any way for us to return all of them back to normal?
Hey! How'd he do that?
The Red Ranger's a bigger problem than I thought!
It's time to finish this thing up!
What can I do to make them love me again?
What are you drawing, Kitty?
Mega Rangers? Yeah! That's a mega win!
Hello? King Julian, you are truly inspiring. Ow! SpongeBob!
Fantastic!
I was going to my hall, someone came from my back and was
how tugenda okwebaka ekiro yangambamye omanyi webakeko nange omulundi gw'ogusembayo.
I went to the nurse and I asked why is it that our father is negative and for us we are positive.
Every time I find a story of assault of one person to another, I get disturbed. Mwayombye ekiro lwaleeta suzeewo lwe bakwokezza naze poza kimu nti mujja wange yanjokezza
kino ekyafa kino kyali kyakulira muno mu lubuto.
The Irene I know just loves music and loves to sing. I've never seen her even smoke a cigarette.
The days of legal trade in slaves are history, following its abolition in the 1800s.
They tie you like this. That's when I started getting past.
Everybody has a story, but yours will only become our story when you share it.
I have missed the first goal. Do you want to tell you?
I don't know how I feel. I don't.
U-Turn, now closer to you as it turns your world with great humour on Tuesdays at 7:40 p.m.
You are here, we are sleeping, you're saying, get out of my husband's apartment. So I run out. You're chasing out of
Login slides down to 7:40 p.m. on Wednesday.
On login. The street jam, they want to video shoot on NTV.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Molondo.
You're watching Morning at NTV. Now the debate on the national anthem has indeed started up a storm on Facebook. Some of your messages here very quickly. Pauline says, I don't think it is necessary. As a Ugandan, I love my anthem. My eyes get teary whenever I listen to it. And I mean the national anthem is history itself, and revamping it will most probably not be good, as still Ugandans will take ages to learn it. Besides, that money can be put to better use. Shireen says it is not necessary. It's all about resource and time wasting. Ninsima Sheina says they just want to give us another burden of learning a new anthem, yet even the old one, some stanzas we do not know. It's lack of what to do and wastage of money. Let them first provide beds in hospital. We have Nicholas saying 75,000 for changing the anthem. How about teaching it? How much will it cost? Ugandans muzukuke. And Waswa says, let me tell you, that anthem has no problem, but our government needs help because it is out of control. Julius Odonkara says, believe me, Mr. Museveni is testing our patience. He wants to know our inner strength, so we shall give it to him. He just can't change our national anthem like that. We are not... if we can't sing. Yeah, and I think others are saying it will be a big mistake, and others are saying it is a national issue. We now cross over to Brian for Everyday Life, who has an interesting guest lined up for us. Hello, Brian.
Well, thank you very much, Mabel. This conversation also, I guess, will be related a bit to the national anthem. But I don't know if people are not happy with the way our national anthem is arranged. But we're going to look at building self-confidence and self-esteem. And the story is told of a lady who was unhappy at work and at home, and because she just couldn't see herself standing up to her superiors, even though she was being treated disrespectfully. And she has missed opportunities for promotion because each time they pick on her, she shies away, feeling she is very unworthy. So this morning we're going to help her gain more confidence and know her self-worth. Coming up on Everyday Life. Well, he was the first guest on Everyday Life. I was very pumped. I probably was more than a listener on that show. Ethan Mussolini joins us again. Good morning.
Morning, Brian.
Nice to see you after 5 months. You know, we've been here 5 months.
Amazing. And I even noticed that the Facebook count grew from 1,000 that day to now over 22,000 as of last night.
Yeah.
So time flies so fast,
Yeah.
Brian. Though you haven't put on some weight, you're still looking the same guy. At least you still have the constancy of fun and energy, which is good.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
You are the CEO of Success Africa.
Yes.
For the benefit of our viewers who do not know that, what do you do at Success Africa?
We do human resource training and consulting areas like communication skills, team building, customer service, leadership skills. So it's really about how do we get the most out of people at the workplace and also in their individual lives. So that's what we do. And personally, I also do coaching one-on-one, whether it's executive coaching in the areas of personal development, communication skills, public speaking, so to speak. And I love what I do, especially the motivational speaking part. So it's good to be back here at morning.
Good to have
at
you.
NTV, yes.
When I was reading some stuff, I came across where they were defining self-esteem and self-confidence.
Yes.
I said those are two different things.
Yes.
Please help us understand that.
That's a great question. So confidence is about your belief in your own abilities to do something. So meaning like now for you are confident that you can deliver a show on TV. Now self-esteem is about how do you really love and appreciate yourself regardless of what's going on around you. So, for example, people who have low self-esteem when they are not dressed nice and they don't get the compliments that they deserve or they feel they deserve, they feel bad. But for a person who has high self-esteem, whether they get a compliment or not, they still appreciate themselves.
They still know I'm smart.
Yes.
I don't care what you think, I'm smart.
Yeah, whether you think I'm smart or not, I love myself and appreciate myself. Right. So self-esteem is about self-appreciation and self-love, regardless of what's going on. So the levels at which you appreciate yourself will determine your levels of self-esteem. So that's
in the work you've done, the people you've talked to, what have they told you causes this? And even in your own research, what causes low self-esteem or low confidence?
In fact, I even published a book way back in 2008, an audio book now, which I showed you earlier in the show. And based on my research, Brian, if you recall back in our childhood days, you remember either at your home or neighbors, when I was growing up, you'd hear parents say things like, Oli musiru. Chirabi, meaning you're stupid, you're foolish, you never amount to anything, look at you. So then now, especially between the age of 2 and 9, that's when we develop a self-concept or how we look at ourselves. Right. So, and when a child is growing up, they have two authorities, the parent and the teacher. So those are the two
they're
core
always
people.
in their circle.
Yeah, they
all
are
the time, constantly.
Yes, and they consider them as the authorities. So when they look at them as authorities, meaning whatever they say, then it is the absolute truth. So that's why I always tell parents and teachers, never call a child stupid. Never call your student stupid or foolish, because then they move on, just like the case study you were raising, then they move on, now holding that in their head that I'm foolish, I'm stupid, I'll never amount to anything, therefore, who am I to stand up to my boss?
Right.
So you have an adult still with the old child in them that believes that the authority does not believe in them, carrying the old authority. The teacher and parent now is replaced by the boss.
Right.
And secondly, the other thing that also causes this is this phenomenon in Uganda especially, that omwana omuto tayogira mu maaso g'abantu abakulu. That when you're young, you don't talk to old people. I met someone from an international organization. I was teaching and at actually an embassy, and he couldn't look at me in the eye. I said, how come? He said, omuntu omukulu tebamutunda mu maaso. That an elder, they do not look at them in the eye. This case, I was not the elder, but now an authority. Because I was a facilitator, now I was an authority. And so, and these are things, Brian, that really hold us back.
And so some of the negatives of tradition that make us feel, useless, because when you get out in the marketplace,
yes,
you are required to look someone in the eye.
Absolutely, because now you can imagine someone is appearing on an interview panel looking at, and they can't look at the interview panel, then they lose the opportunity. They have a point to put across at the workplace, they can't come out.
Right.
Or they are going to sell a product or service. It could even be a phone like this, and they can't close the deal because they lack that oomph, that energy, that desire, and that self-belief to say, you know what, this is the thing you must buy. Yeah. So our culture is good in terms of us being nice and hospitable. However, the challenge is in the professional world, it becomes a hindrance when you've carried these beliefs that you don't look at people in the eye, don't speak loud. You remember when a child would speak loud and say, why are you?
You hooligan.
Well, exactly. You're called a hooligan because of speaking up. Right. And then now you carry that, people are speaking now. Then Nigerians, Kenyans, they come in the market, they are speaking loud, they are boisterous, and then they take over the core positions because then they are making themselves stand out from the crowd.
When you're applying for the job,
yes,
you even put it, I am confident, I am a team player. Where's the breakdown? You know, okay, the boss shouts at you. Well, some of us, I think, when the boss shouts at us, we find a way of shouting back, not verbally, but in our actions. We prove that you shouted at me, but you're going to eat your words. But some people literally crumble.
Yes.
What happens? Because, like, okay, my boss can shout at me and still retreat back to my desk and say, you know what, let me work.
Let me fight back.
Others fail.
Yeah. And I think the difference, you've ever had that saying, the thick skin? And for me, that thick skin is now your levels of confidence are able to act as a shield against these attacks, because most people, or a good number of people, you find that they fear ridicule, they fear challenge or criticism, because then they are taking that as the definition of their self-worth. Right. So if the boss has challenged me or has said a bad word against me, then that it's a definition of who I am. But that's wrong. So the trick is to have that sense of, regardless of what is going on around me, I am capable, I am powerful, I am wonderful, I can fight back, I can kick back. So when you have that, then that becomes your form of reference. And what I usually tell people is, you know, if we are created in God's image, and if you are created in God's image and you know God is great, then you are great. That's what I usually tell people. Yes. So when you have that, then it becomes a strong frame of reference that regardless of what's going on, regardless of the challenge, at least it's not what people tell you. That's what I usually tell you. It's not what people tell you. It's what do you tell yourself. What do you tell yourself? Do you tell yourself, I'm great, I am wonderful? Or now you're depending on other people's opinions of you? Yeah.
Ethan, there's questions here, and I want to quickly go to them.
Yeah.
I get tensed up with every small thing when people are watching me.
Yes.
If I'm myself, I can perform well.
Yeah.
The thing is eating me up, and I'll be glad if you help me deal with it.
Okay. And my friend, I don't know who the name is, but so the challenge there now is that the reference is on people's opinions. And when you don't know let me first tell you the cause. The cause is we always want to look good and perfect. Yeah. And yet at the core of who we are, we know that none of us is perfect.
Yes.
So you are caught in that dilemma. I want to look good, I want to look perfect, but I know I'm not. So there's that tension. People are judging me. What are they thinking about me? Will I show up? Will I raise my game? So my friend who asked that question, this is my answer for you. So the trick is, you focus on your performance, not what people are thinking about. You say, I'm going to do my best, and that's all that matters. And I know I'll deliver. And the other trick is, take a deep breath in, relax before you go before an audience, a public, and just keep telling yourself those positive things, because then they will calm you down. They will calm him or her down, rather than them now being worried about what other people are saying or not. So that's a quick tip I would give that person.
Irene says, my friend who is a woman is greatly in need of knowledge about her inner health and well-being. Yeah. I have witnessed the perilous plight she's going down, and she always has an excuse, which brings her self-esteem down really bad. Her negative energy is engulfing her, making her act as if the whole world is at fault, and she can't do anything about it.
Yeah. So for that particular friend of yours, you tell her, there are one of the things that really transformed my life, Brian, about 12 years ago, was when a woman taught me a lesson that you are 100% responsible for your life. And when you take that sense of self-responsibility and you know you're the one in charge, then you start complaining, you stop blaming the economy, traffic jam and heat and all that. Saba government to Yambe. So that's one. Number two is to always, for that friend of hers, if you're listening in, is to always look for something you're grateful for. Before I go to bed, I look for something that I'm grateful for. Yeah. Because then when you look at things that you don't have, then you look at the world as bad, as hopeless and all that. But when you look at the things that you have, even the health alone, even the fact that you're still kicking and alive, that alone is something to be grateful for. And negative energies, they will lead her even down the spiral of negativity and failure. Right. So I would say, look for something that she's grateful for, let her remember that she's great and that she's in charge of her life, and indeed she is.
If you're just joining us, I'm talking to the CEO of Success Africa, Ethan Mussolini. I'm getting my lesson also this morning, so yeah, I guess we're on the same page. If you have self-esteem issues or low confidence, or you want it to be, to have that boost, you can feel free to send in your questions to our Facebook page, Morning at NTV, and Twitter, Morning at NTV. You can also tag Ethan at Ethan Mussolini on Twitter, and I'm sure that discussion can continue there. My personal question.
Yes.
In some areas, or in some groups of people, I feel like I'm the center of attraction. You know, I'm
yes.
the main thing, I'm the life of the party. And in other groups, I feel so self-conscious. Is that part of the self-esteem thing we are talking about too? Do I crumble when I reach some spheres and I'm like, let me relax? What goes wrong?
The challenge there is then you're treating yourself as superior in some circumstances and then possibly a notch lower in other situations. I've seen presidents in Africa who appear who are boisterous, fantastic in their countries, and then they are on CNN before an international audience, and then they start fumbling with things because now the level has gone higher. So I think the trick, what I found useful, is not to consider yourself superior above others, but to say, you know what, you and I, we are all great human beings. So, and what I usually advise people is, one time I met an army general and someone was wondering how come I'm so confident talking to them. I said, look, he's an army general in the army, but I'm also an army general in motivational speaking and human resource consulting. So, sorry, not an army general, but a general in consulting and two generals of different professions. So wherever you go, my friend, look at yourself as a general and the other person also as a general.
Oh,
yes.
So, what have other people done right? You're confident, you have all this self-esteem, you exude all that.
Yes.
What have you done right so that, someone who is watching us right now can pick from that?
Yeah, and also just remember that a couple of years ago, I used not to be as confident. Even at the university, I used to be shy. Right. I used to even be shy to talk to ladies, for heaven's sake. But now I'm married. So what did I do differently? Number one, to read books, positive books that really, or listen to audios, DVDs to improve your self-image, because then you hear positive things. Part of what kills our confidence and self-esteem is hearing all this negativity. Yeah. Number two is to keep improving your skills. Keep improving your skill sets, your abilities, then that will boost your confidence. Number three, hang around positive people, people who encourage you, who inspire you. There are people who are always negative, telling you can't make
like
this.
They are built to put you down.
Yeah, they pull you down. I call them dream busters, not dream builders. So be around dream builders, people who will inspire you and encourage you. Then to always look for something to be grateful for every day, and to remind yourself, I am great, regardless of what's going on around me. I'm a child of God. I am an ambassador of God on planet Earth. Therefore, I deserve all the good things in life.
This is a question from a mother.
Yeah.
Stella says, I need to know one thing about self-esteem.
Yeah.
In what age period does it develop in children?
Between the age of 2 and 9, that is the most critical. So, my dear mother, please, say positive things to your child because they are listening to you full time. Having said that, if you're an adult and you have this low confidence and self-esteem because of your past, that does not mean that you stay in that frame. You can work on yourself, and that's why we are having this show. Work on your books and read positive books and things I talked about. But age 2 to 9, that's the most critical. That's when we develop our confidence and self-esteem as a foundation.
My self-esteem comes from childhood and people in general who think they are better than me.
Yes. So, and they think they are better than you because you are also thinking that you are less compared to them. So change your self-image and prove to them that indeed you are as superior as them.
I have a friend who, you know, at the workplace, I guess it's like there are more senior people who have done probably 10 years at the job, and she kind of feels like because she has just come into the company, and you know, some people get favored. You come into the company, you're too creative, so everyone wants to have your idea, and then a couple of people think that you are probably just favored, or you know, you don't have what it takes. So that kind of also puts you down because you think you are not worth it.
Yeah. And again, it's about developing that thicker skin once again to know that, hey, focus on your game. What I usually tell people is do your best and God will do the rest. If you keep hanging around and listening to what people are thinking about you, then you're not really in your element, so to speak. You're not living your life to the fullest. You're living according to people's wishes, whims, and assumptions. So I always tell people, do your thing. And because some people, by the way, are jealous because they have low self-esteem and confidence, because for them to feel more powerful, it's when you are below them. So when you're above them, they feel bad and they start criticizing and challenging and feeling insecure. And I also tell people, please never feel insecure around successful. If you're the one feeling that, please stop it. Those are bad manners, okay? So, you know, bless people when they are successful. That's what I advise people, rather than feeling so bad about them. So that's what I would say.
Right. Ethan Mussolini, his audio book is out, Confidence and Self-Esteem. It's audio. This is much easier for some of us who don't read. Just slide in the CD, drive when you're frustrated in that Kampala traffic. This could do something for you. I'm definitely going to take this CD, and it focuses on how to stand out from the crowd, 7 habits of confident people, accessing personal confidence. Confidence enhancers is good, and how to bounce back and be resilient. Ethan, always a pleasure, man.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
It was fun talking with you.
Look out for his articles in Sunday Monitor.
No, Monitor every Tuesday. There's one today, yes.
Today.
Every Tuesday.
Go and get that tidbit or, you know, personal growth. And Ethan, I will definitely call you back.
Please.
I'll definitely call you back. Isma, we are probably feeling very, very less confident of our African teams year by year, because we are always the ones getting out. Quick assessment of last night's games.
Everyone should be proud of whatever Nigeria and Algeria did, but also on the other hand, it would be a case of settling for less. And listen to Ethan there. I know so many people suffer from self-esteem issues. I'm not one of them, but probably the Nigerians do. So the Cameroonians, and we talk about why the Nigerians lost last night, and their coach is gone, so is Joseph Yobo, their captain. All of them retired after the game last night.
Right. I will probably try and link scoring own goals to low self-esteem. Stay with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes to talk sport.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Brought to you by
Caring takes strength. Panadol Advance. When minutes matter, take Panadol Advance. Panadol Advance is a fast pain reliever with Optizop technology. Caring takes strength. Panadol Advance.
Mikwano gyaffe bana NTV ate naddala mu bannaamu muli gw'emizannyo. Muli gw'ebyemizannyo gukomyewo 2014 ate mutya. Kati ate gukyusiza n'obudde. Gwa musanvu kitundu wali gwa mwenda ne gugoberera ntusanyuka kati gubongereddeko wano malya g'ebyemisana awo. Busooke gubatayize gubaletire bintu kyonna kalonda eno byemizannyo. Omuli gw'ebyemizannyo mupya 2014 Isima waali alagira Argentina yenjo mukubira eddiba lye omukwano gujja kukomawo ku muli gw'emizannyo naye kasita kinatuuka eri bano ba Messi okulumba abalenzi baffe Thiago Silva awo tewali mukwano omuli gw'ebyemizannyo 2014 President.
The nerves, the pressure.
It's locked up. What rubbish is this?
And the joy will be unveiled. Have all the entertainment.
Good morning, beautiful.
Motivation, inspiration.
Love is not about public opinion.
And the celebration all in one.
You may now kiss the bride.
I'm loving the red velvet.
I like it. And I can't wait to say I do.
This is not your typical wedding show. It's fresh, it's different.
Wedding Glitz, coming soon only on NTV. On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
La Patrona.
Scenes from the next episode.
Gaston, you've gone too far.
The great madam and the real owner of the dollhouse is Antonia Guerra.
Damn it!
I heard the show.
Well, don't we deserve an applause?
Of course you deserve something. It's this. No, I do. You're the one messing with the wrong person.
We aren't anything. It's over.
La Patrona.
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Are you and I ever gonna have a chance to be sisters?
You want the baby to have my name?
Would that be okay?
So I'm happy you came.
Yes, especially since I thought you were shunning all things Newman. I have my own reasons for showing up.
What did you say about him?
I'm sorry, attempted rape.
Okay, look, whatever you think you know about him, you don't know his heart.
If there is a way to make me feel more miserable, you will instinctively find it.
You gave up the one woman you loved, and now you're having a hard time figuring out how to move on?
I can't imagine who would want to hurt a good man like you.
Okay, you know what? I don't need you telling me how to feel about Lily.
Are you pregnant? No. Then why are you trying to alienate Tyler?
Has something happened between the two of you? Are you afraid that I'm gonna do something to ruin your marriage, or that you will?
Why don't we have a party? I'll bring Nikki and bring your siblings. How's that?
Now, what are you gonna do? You gonna blackmail them this time, or are you gonna bribe them?
Looks like Mommy's not the only one who knows how to make up a story.
Minutes on to 9 o'clock this morning, looking at self-confidence and, have you ever had some of those issues?
Confidence issues?
Once in a while, like, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm the worst. Underperformer.
There's a part of me that I don't want to discuss on national TV about the confidence thing, but I'm a kind of person who gives everything to like 90% of the things I do. Yeah, I give it every shot. I think at some point I'm always feeling, if I failed, I don't want to look back and say I would have done this different. Especially, my confidence is only about mainly money. When I'm chasing money, the confidence is there. I'm pushing it. I'm thinking, can do this. Isn't that what you need all the time?
Ladies are always victims of this, don't you get?
I must admit, personally, as an individual, I think I am getting more confident, probably with age. But I was one of those in school who had a bit of a low self-esteem, I think. Yes, but I'm working on it, and I speak to myself. I say, maybe you're able to do it.
You look in the mirror and say, you are good.
Yes.
You are beautiful. Okay. Well, last night was a show of low self-esteem, I guess. But one of the guys that should be feeling good about himself is Enyama.
Yeah.
What a show of
confidence.
Yeah, like he was really on fire.
I think he's got to be one of the best goalkeepers at this World Cup, and that comes even after Nigeria were knocked out last evening by the French. And the worst thing about goalkeeping that for every goal he did, this is part of the reason Nigeria lost, because of that the ball he gave to Paul Pogba. You know, when you the cardinal rule of goalkeeping is that when you leave your line, you must touch the ball to a substantial force that it won't get back to you. Now, when Enyama comes out for that cross and then doesn't get the touch he wanted on the ball, and then Pogba heads into an empty net, it's a mistake. But we've got to think that even right from the group stages, they were goalless against Iran. They beat Bosnia by 1-0. For me, one of his best games, because Edin Dzeko and company did challenge him in the group stages. And then actually against Argentina, besides the free kick, he had several saves in that. And then before those last 11 minutes when France scored through Paul Pogba, and then the own goal from Joseph Yobo, Vincent Enyama. For me, one of the best goalkeepers in Africa, and for about 10 years or so. In Europe, actually, across the five leagues in Europe, he had the most clean sheets by any goalkeeper. He had 21 for Lille. And I always look back from when I first saw him back in 2005, when Enyimba won the Champions League, the Nigerian team was playing for at the time. He was the best thing about Enyimba at the time, because they were beating up on Al Ahly, who were no pushover, who were way ahead of Enyimba. They were in their first Champions, and actually went on to defend it. And actually the following year, they also went to the penalty shootout, I think against Esperance Etodusa, one of the Tunisian teams. And he scored a penalty and saved in the same shootout. And actually in the point when it was still goalless, I kept on thinking, okay, this is set up for Enyama to be the hero. He's already saved so many. He's a very good in penalties. And then he'll take one in the penalty shootout and put it past Hugo Lloris. Eventually, Enyama, they are undoing there. But he thought, you've got to give it to the French. He kept pushing. They kept knocking on that door. Because I thought they're very tough condition. The temperature's getting to almost 40 degrees. And at that point in time, I thought Nigeria would feel better about it, because the temperatures in West Africa are similar to what is happening in Brazil. And the French had complained about it already going into the game. And actually had to change the times, their training schedule to train at exactly the match time. And then they had also had to change their meals to get more meals that have a lot of rehydration in terms of foods there, just to deal with this one game against Nigeria. So I thought that for the final 20 minutes, Nigeria would be the better team, but eventually they gave away those 2 goals, and the reason they are headed home. Stephen Kesh has resigned, their coach. Joseph Yobo, their captain, who scored the own goal, has also retired from the national team.
This was, regardless of the result, he was probably going to retire. Anyway.
Yobo was.
I was surprised he was on the bench anyway.
Yeah, I was also surprised. Actually, I was surprised he started the World Cup, because I was expecting him to make the 23. Because there's a good relationship with Keshi, they have a lot of mutual respect, and when he benched him for the Africa Cup last year, that is 2013, which Nigeria won, no one had a problem with it. But then thereafter, how he moved from the bench to become a starter, totally out of my step. I didn't see that coming. But eventually, I don't think he's done so poorly. And I feel bad that Stephen Keshi is leaving. Maybe not for Yobo, because players come and go. His generation is only 12 years. I feel bad for Keshi. For the 3 years he's been in charge of Nigeria, they've changed their mindset. Nigeria are more settled than they ever were. Even when they had the stars of Kocha, Kampana, Mokachi, Yekini, they've never been this settled. Nigeria are more settled than they once were. And actually, the sportsman in Nigeria says Keshi, you're going nowhere because he thinks he's the guy who can drive his team forward. And I thought tactically he got all his tactics right yesterday. I've not seen many African managers who can do this and match a European side with all this tactical setup. And Keshi has done it. Sometimes it can sound racist because he doesn't believe all the white coaches who come to Africa are way better than the blacks, because he has, of course, his case. When he was coaching Togo, and he helped them qualify for the first World Cup back in 2006. And then before they got to the World Cup, they sacked him and brought in a German, Otto Pfister, who was 71 and didn't do much. And for him, he thinks there are so many white coaches who come here just to take their sabbatical or their retirement. And in many cases, it sounds racist because he calls them white. He doesn't call them just coaches. So
he should say coaches from Europe.
Coaches from Europe, yeah. He calls them white coaches.
Right.
Well,
it should be a show also of confidence. You know, in this part when the sports minister tells you you're not going anywhere because you've done a good job. I think that's good backing. Some of our coaches need that here.
Well, now, Ozil, when we want him to score in Arsenal, he doesn't score. But he scores in extra time against our fellow Africans.
Wow,
who does that?
A very long night there for everyone who watched that game through, because ended goalless at the end of the 90 minutes. Of course, I think the build-up to the game almost entirely centered on that game back in 1982, when the Germans beat up on the Austrians, knocked the Algerians out, even if none of these players on either side were born at the time. And you could see the motivation of the Algerians. I thought where they played over the 90 minutes and even through the extra time, there's a lot of fight in that team. Though I always thought that it was always going to come down to the quality of the two sides. And actually, the quality eventually shone through. And that's the reason why probably the Germans are in the quarterfinals. But also, Mebo, before you blame Ozil for scoring, because Andre Schürrle got the more important one, the first goal, because that's the most important goal in extra time, is that you've got to look at how Germany do in these tournaments. Germany have never been knocked out of the World Cup before the quarterfinals. That's quite something. They've never been knocked out before the quarterfinals. And the World Cup started in 1930.
And they had to maintain that.
And they had to maintain that. And they didn't do it as easily as they would have wanted. But sometimes you're thrown these kind of challenges and you have to get through them. And I thought probably Andre Schürrle coming off the bench will create a lot of space and problems for the Algerian backline. Of course, the Algerians should have taken their chances. Early in the game, they were the team that were on top. They should have taken probably some of their chances. They didn't do that. And they paid the price. Now the Germans are into the quarters where they'll play the French. That should be a good one.
Whoa. That should be it.
I think I support Simon now. Let the World Cup begin. Africans are just jokers and players.
Don't say that.
I agree
Don't say
with
that.
him.
I think we've done well.
We have not done well. We could have done so much better.
Okay, the worst excuse I know about African teams and all of us in our small houses is that we always settle for less. That's why I'm so unkind and unequivocal in blaming everyone for everything that happens to me. Blame yourself. I see all this Twitter banter, whether it's a satire or not, where people think the referee in the game between Greece and Ivory Coast was unfair. And I'm thinking you had a chance to bury the game.
And we
didn't.
Win it. Yeah.
Go win it. Simple.
Why do we have to
all
blame
these teams go through this kind of challenge and they come through it. We can keep saying France didn't play well, they won. Germany didn't play well, they won. Why can't we say Nigeria didn't play well and won? Simple.
Why do you have to say the pitch is not good?
England is like Africa. No wonder they colonized us for that long.
I'm telling you, we have the English syndrome of crying foul. Moving on to today's games. Argentina against Switzerland, Belgium against USA. What's your call?
Those should be very close games, first of all, because the Belgians haven't played well, even if they should be favorites against the Americans there. The Americans should be feeling very confident after what they've done in the group stages. And actually, I was seeing the US coach, Jürgen Klinsmann, trying to steer a storm where there is none by saying that he doesn't agree they've chosen the right referee for the...
Off stains faster.
Having broken the hunger story in the park, we appeal to the general public to contribute towards the Feed the Park initiative. Kindly donate items like clothes, food, shoes and other items to support our vulnerable brothers and sisters in the Park District, Karamoja. Kindly bring your donated items to the Uganda National Theatre from the 2nd to 30th June 2014 or send your mobile money contribution to Winnie Banage on MTN 0772 121986. For more information, call Diana on 0791 162357. We can do great things with great love.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
La Patrona.
Scenes from the next episode. Gaston, you've gone too far.
The great madam and the real owner of the dollhouse is Antonia Guerra.
Damn it!
I heard the show.
Well, don't we deserve an applause?
Of course you deserve something. It's this. No, I do. You're the one messing with the wrong person.
We aren't anything. It's over.
La Patrona.
You can download movies at the lowest prices another fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
This program is rated PG. It is suitable for children ages 8 and above, but parental guidance is advised as it might contain mild violence and mature situations.